This podcast is part of the Everyday Heroes Podcast Network, the network for first responders and those who support them.
Disclaimer. All views expressed on What Makes Us Fire are solely those of the person or persons giving them. What Makes Us Fire does not represent or claim to represent any particular city or fire department, and therefore make the claim that all views and standpoints are affiliated with What Makes Us Fire and with What Makes Us Fire only. Any mention of certain fire departments or cities within the interviews are solely for informational and opinion-based dialogue. In short, if you have a problem with what's published, just say something about it and don't be a Richard.
What is up, What Makes Us Fire family? This is Josh, your host of the What Makes Us Fire podcast, founder of the What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation. Thank you for joining us today on the show. Before we get started, I want to thank the Spagnoletti Law Firm for being a sponsor and for them representing the What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation. I also want to thank a couple of podcasts that I was been on, Behind the Badge with Prince Blue and John Stepp. I also want to recognize IGY6 podcast. Both of them had me as guests on their podcast, and I can't thank them enough. Y'all, if you want to go check out those episodes, go check out those podcasts where I was a guest and show them some love and support like they do for the What Makes Us Fire family and the What Makes Us Fire podcast. If anybody out there would like to make a donation to the What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation, you can go to whatmakesusfire.com. There you can click on the donate tab, make one small-time donation and or be a reoccurring donor. We are also working on a sponsorship program for any and all potential sponsors that want to be mentioned here on the podcast and, of course, blasted on all our social media sites and on our website. Please be on the lookout for that. We are looking for sponsorships for the podcast and for the nonprofit as well. That will help the podcast grow, will help us get more guests on the show, will help us do the traveling, get better equipment. Hopefully in the future, actually put me in a studio instead of here in the RV where I record all the podcasts currently, and or in my truck using Starbucks Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's right. You heard it right. One of my episodes, I was in my truck and I used Starbucks Wi-Fi to record it. Thank you, Starbucks, for the free Wi-Fi. They in no way, shape, or form sponsor the What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation or the What Makes Us Fire podcast, and we in no way, shape, or form sponsor Starbucks. We just want to say thank you for allowing us to use their free Wi-Fi. Anyway, my guest today on the show is someone that a lot of people are getting to know, and they got to know him pretty quickly. Detective Diddy on TikTok. His name is Brian. He is a detective up in the New York area. And what we talk about is something that was a little bit uncomfortable for him. And he has no qualms in saying that he was a bit uncomfortable talking about it. But the cool thing was that he didn't stop the conversation. He continued to go with it. He helped us have the conversation to kill the stigma that is having the uncomfortable conversation. He realized that even though it might have been uncomfortable and even though he might have not had some, significant answers for some of the questions that I asked him, he knew that just being there and listening was more than enough for us to kill that stigma. He didn't stop the interview. He didn't say he was completely uncomfortable, that he just didn't want to talk about it at all. He was honest with some of the questions and saying, I don't know. And just a simple I don't know recognizes that he's not going to bullshit through the question. He wants to give an informed, educated answer, and in some of these questions he wasn't able to, and that's okay. There's no shame in not knowing. It's better to admit that you don't know than to bullshit through it. You can cause a lot of pain and anguish and trouble by trying to bullshit your way through something that you're not completely aware of. And so I want to thank him for that. And you'll hear what I'm talking about through the episode. He also kind of goes through a little bit of what it was like with him and a special needs son and what he's doing with his nonprofit, Blue Line PD. I'm sorry, they're not currently a nonprofit. However, the nonprofit that he is trying to build with Blue Line PD. So sit back, relax, enjoy the episode. I talk a lot in this one because, like I said, he was very, very open to hearing my point of view about things and sharing his point of view about things and being silent on things that he didn't want to bullshit through. So enjoy the episode. I had fun talking to him, and I can't wait to work with him a little bit more in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, What Makes Us Fire family, here he is, Detective Diddy, my friend Brian. So now that you look all professional and everything, you got your own mic, you got ears. I see you like Big D. I mean, you are a cop. You do like Big D. I mean,
what's Big D?
It's on your wall.
What's on my wall?
You got a Big D on your wall.
Where? Oh, D.
I mean, hey, I don't judge, bro. I don't judge. if you want to hang a Big D on your wall, hang a Big D. You know, whatever you want to do. That's for everybody listening to the audio version. They're gonna have no idea what we're talking about. They're gonna think there's a large penis on your wall. All right, man. Well, Brian, brother, thank you for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, man.
How long has it been since I asked you?
Probably a year now.
Damn near, huh? So
Definitely.
it was a year on August 3rd that I started doing the podcast. And it's been a year since I've been on TikTok. And I think I asked you just a couple months in when I saw you doing what you were doing on social media. And I was just like, hey, man, I like you. You got this flair. You got the accent because you're from up Northeast. You're Yankee. And, you know, like you have that. All right. I could be wrong. But I think it's a general idea. It's a stereotype that when you hear that accent, right? You automatically think Guido, pompous, stuck on themselves.
You say so.
Well, you're not denying it.
That's what the Jersey Shore does to us, you know.
Right. Well, that's true. I think that's what it is. I think we've definitely been made to think one way or the other because of our intake of media and what it portrays, those people that have that kind of accent, right? And movies and stuff like that. You hear that New York City accent, you hear, man, that person's probably very sure of themselves. They're probably really, really rude when you walk next to them on the street. And I mean, that can't be further from the truth, but you know, when that accent's tied to that kind of character all the fucking time, that's the first thing I thought when I saw your stuff. I was like, or when I saw your first live and I heard you talking, I was like, oh, I don't know. Cause I saw some of your stuff. You know, you're a funny guy. You were helping people and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's cool. And then I heard you talk. I was just like, oh, I don't know. But then I saw what you were about. And of course that was me profiling, and profiling's wrong unless you're on white, in which case it's totally fine. How you been, man?
I'm good, man. How was your trip last week? That
the meetup in San Antonio. Yeah, so October 15th to the 17th was the TikTok Riverwalk takeover in San Antonio, Texas. We took over the San Antonio Riverwalk. It was pretty good, man. We raised just about $8,800 for the event for the weekend. It only being the second event What Makes Us Fire has ever put on. It was huge. It was like a 500% increase in participants, and it was fun. A lot of people came out to help us. I don't know if you know who Team Telly is. They came out, a lot of them came out to support the cause and have some drinks, have a good time, dance, laugh, sing. And it was fun, man. You missed a good party. However, I do know the one you went to the weekend after in Nashville was massive.
It was. And it was a good time, let me tell you. There must have been 600-700 people there. It was just a great group of people.
Dang.
I finally got to meet most of these guys from Blue Line PD.
Yeah, well, and we're gonna get into Blue Line PD and everything. Yeah, but I saw a couple of your videos and stuff. I saw all these huge creators, you making a video with them and everything, and I was like, that's what I was looking for here. However, we got a bunch of badass creators down here as well. But I think everybody was going to Nashville. Had I known Nashville was going to be happening the weekend later, I probably wouldn't have set it up for the weekend that I set it up for. But it was still fun. We had about 200 lanyards sold. So all those profits went to our nonprofit, which we'll get into our nonprofits respectively. And it was a good time, man. It was just about meeting people and finally instead of seeing them on this little 3-inch screen, we're actually seeing them in person, giving them a hug and talking to them, which is huge. It makes it more real than what it is when we see each other on the screens, you know?
But you know what? When you finally meet these people, it's like you've known them forever, though. You know what I'm saying?
That is something else too, especially if you follow the right type of people, right? So there's a lot of people out there that are just putting on quote unquote shticks where they're a character on their social media for views, likes, whatever, for their business, whatever they're doing, right? But then if you're following the right people that are actually sharing who they are and trying to build something for themselves, when you meet them, it's like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, you're exactly who you are. There's no shtick here. What I'm seeing here is what I'm getting. So,
1 sec, sorry.
Oh my God, look at you. You having that much of an issue, huh?
It's a little bit of popping.
A little bit of popping.
Yeah.
Is that better?
There we go.
That better?
Much better.
Much better. Look at you, man. Damn perfectionist. You can't just deal with it.
It's hot, man. It's like 100 degrees under those things.
Is that why you get to sit in an AC car all day?
So I sit in an AC office all day.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You went from Diddy to detective. I forgot about that. You were promoted recently. How is that going for you?
I've been a detective for 13 years now, so
holy shit,
it's been recent.
Oh, well then your name changed recently.
Well, the name changed back recently.
Okay, well then fuck me for
I re-promoted myself on TikTok.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was.
It was a TikTok promotion, self-promotion.
TikTok self-promotion. What?
Yeah. Someone's got to promote me, right?
Yeah, somebody does. But yeah, man, it's been crazy how we met, and our friendship has been strictly online, through TikTok, social media, phone calls, text messages, stuff like that. You'll be on live. I'll send you a screenshot of somebody kissing somebody in the background, and it's very weird. Very weird. You cops are a different breed up there in Northeast. You guys have some weird lives going.
Oh, I think it's a normal thing up here. I don't know. You down south guys are the weird ones.
Oh, we're the weird ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't got anybody kissing and hanging on to each other in the background of my lives. I'm just saying. PDA is PDA, bro.
Listen, it is a party here every weekend, though. So,
well, I know, bro. Like shit, every time, every weekend, every live, it's you jump in and you guys are having a great time. Everybody's there. I missed coming up to New York a few months ago. I wanted to go up, but
you're gonna have to come for the next one, January.
I think January what?
January 28th to the 30th.
January 28th to the 30th. I will have to see what I can do. That sounds fun. Let's see. January 28th to the 30th. Of course, 2 days that I'm working, the 28th and 29th. No big deal. I'll figure it out.
You guys could switch around stuff. That's what you guys do anyway, right?
We have people work for us and then we work for them. Like we pay them back.
Well, mutuals.
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. Saying all that, I finally got you here. Finally, after almost a year. And I want to say thank you again for coming on the show.
Yeah, brother. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot to it, man. We're going to sit, we're going to talk, we're going to chat. There is a little bit at the beginning that I kind of like to dive into, and that's about you and your past and where you come from. And the reason why I like doing that is to let people know that, you're Brian, you're a human being, and you were a human being way before you were ever a cop, way before you were ever the social media influencer. You you're a normal human being dealing with normal human everyday shit. And then later on in life is when you now have to start doing with the everyday life shit and the job. And
that's when you're not a human being anymore, or perceived as a human being anymore.
Which doesn't make any sense, because that's why. So I have an issue with the term humanizing the badge. Right. I have an issue with that, because when were we not human?
Yeah.
When? At any point in time.
Unfortunately, once you become a police officer, you're dehumanized. So you gotta redo everything and start from scratch again.
But that doesn't make any sense.
And remind people that you are human and you have emotions. You're going through the same thing that anyone else is going through in life every day.
Yeah, and that I know that, and it makes sense. But there was never a time when you didn't have to do that. You are always a human being. You just happen to be a human being that's a cop. Military service, firefighter, EMS. Like we were all human beings before we were in the civil service. Like the civil service became a part of our lives. Yeah, sure. Did it change us a little bit? Absolutely. We have to adjust to the things that we do. But at no time did it ever not make us human. At no time did it ever callous us so much that we had no empathy whatsoever. It boggles my mind that idea was even out there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it just,
I hear you.
It doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I don't like the term humanizing the badge, because when were we not human?
I know, but it's unfortunate that you have to have a term like that. And then you have to let people know, and you have to show people that you're normal, that you're not, that you're human, that you have emotions, that you have feelings, that you have a family. You know what I mean? We go through deaths just like anyone else does.
That's very true. That's very true. And it's the fact that that's lost on people. It just blows my freaking mind. It just blows my mind. Like how can a job, and that's what it is. It's a job. It is a part of our lives. Don't get me wrong. But at the root of it, it's a job. How can a job take away somebody's outlook on you as just being a human being? Like, I don't look at a waiter and go, oh, you're probably a stoner, a dickhead. You probably did something to my food. And you're probably that kind of person all the fucking time. You're just a waiter. You're not John, Joe, or Sally. You're just a waiter. We don't do that with any other professions. We don't do that with any other professions, but we do it with civil service professions. And I don't understand why. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't. You're right.
We don't hear humanizing the serving tray. We don't, it doesn't make any sense to me, but, we'll get into all that a little bit later. I want to start off with who you are, man, where you come from, what kind of life did you have growing up? And you can be as long or as short. I'm going to let you know this. I'm probably going to pry a little bit and ask some questions and stuff. If you don't feel comfortable asking, I get it. I understand. Answering, excuse me. I get it. You don't have to, right. But it's the whole idea, like I said, is to let people know that, you were Brian before you were ever a detective or you were ever a PD. So hit us with it, man. Where do you come from? Where did you come from? Where were you born? Brother, sister, family, all of it. Give us the rundown.
So I was born and raised in Long Island, New York. I grew up here. I was raised here. Went to school here. Never went away to college. I have a younger brother. He's 2 years younger than me. I started off working at a roller skating rink locally, next town over. And that's where I actually met my wife. I worked there for 10 years. It was a great experience. You're working with kids your age. It's like everyone is your age, and there's not too many jobs like that, where almost everyone is your age. Right. And you have a strong bond with everybody, and everybody's going out after work, and it was a great time. And you're meeting kids from other towns as well. So you're always close with people from other towns. You're meeting friends, and you're not just in the same town. I'm a third generation police officer. My grandfather did 36 years on the police department. My uncle did 37. My father did 20. I'm at 17 and a half now. You have cousins. I think we're at like 100, almost 190 years of service. to the same police department. Everybody in my family, which is pretty cool.
Holy shit, 190 years?
It's around 190
combined.
years. Yeah, I could be off a little bit, give or take, but it's up there. I know it was in the high 180s a year ago. Pretty incredible.
That is incredible. It's crazy. You literally took about 30 seconds to explain your whole entire life. I mean, unless your life is that boring, brother, then I mean. So you grew up in Long Island, man. What was that like growing up in Long Island? Is your brother your only younger brother? Is that the only person you have?
I have one sibling. He's 2 years younger than me. He owns a bar upstate New York, and he bartends down here as well.
Okay,
he's been doing that for a long time.
Well, what was life like for you two growing up with your parents and stuff like that in Long Island? Like, how was growing up as a kid in Long Island during, I don't know how old you are.
Well, I'm 40, so.
Oh, you're old as fuck. I'm kidding. I'm 36. What was life growing up for you guys in the late 80s, early 90s, and how did all that go?
Long Island, it's an awesome. It's awesome living here. I mean, where I live, we're 10 minutes from the beach. We're a 35-minute train ride into Manhattan, which is awesome. The best city in the world. One of the best cities in the world by far.
What was the relationship like with your parents growing up?
I was always good with my parents. Always got along with them. I always wanted to be a police officer. I've seen that everyone in my family was cops.
So I got to ask, man, I don't think a lot of people understand the history of firefighting and police work, right? So way back in the day, being a civil servant, especially a public civil servant, be it cop or firefighter, was actually looked at as a below average job, i.e., you had to be like struggling and you just needed a job. It was the kind of job nobody wanted. Nobody wanted to be a firefighter. Nobody wanted to be a cop. They were looked down upon. They were just really nasty, ugly jobs. That's the way they were looked at back in the day. And of course, back in the day, believe it or not, there was racism towards Irishmen. And there are old signs that say, people would go to a storefront and right on the storefront sign, it would say, "No Irish need apply." Right. Yep. And it was bad. It was very, very bad, especially when they started migrating from Ireland to the US. There was just nowhere for them to work. But police officer and firefighter, they were there, and those were jobs nobody wanted to work. Irishmen were like, you know what? It's a job, and they did it. And that's why you start seeing a lot of Irish lineage in those jobs, especially up in the Northeast. So I have to ask, are you part Irish?
So my grandparents came from Ireland.
Oh, look, I'm just saying, it's not like I didn't do
in the corner over here doesn't help.
Yeah, well, I see, and the thing is, and when I hear about that kind of lineage, like I'm like, all right, he probably comes from Ireland, because those were the jobs nobody else wanted. So the Irish were like, fine, we'll take it, we'll do the jobs. And you hear about those lineages in the jobs, especially in police work and in firefighting in the Northeast part of the country. And they migrated from Ireland. I mean, that's insane. Do they have stories like that?
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? Even Italians, it was the same thing for Italians here coming over. So there's a lot of Italian and Irish American police officers.
Yeah. And how do I say this? Has it been like that pretty much your entire career? Is that kind of like you noticing the trend? You still have Irish, new recruits coming in. They're all Irish lineage, or is that starting to change? Is it starting to change? I mean,
every police academy class that goes in at the graduation, they're always saying this is the most diverse class, and they go over every country that's there, and how the percentages are a lot higher now of still immigrants coming in here.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
It is awesome. So it is starting to change a little bit.
It's a very diverse police department. Yeah. But I think every department's like that now, pretty much.
Nationwide. I mean, nationwide, yes. But in the Northeast, if you talk to a police officer, you can almost guarantee they're going to be Irish or Italian. Like you can almost there's going to be some part of that in there up in the Northeast part of the world, country, excuse me. Yep. And I thought that was an interesting fact. And the fact that your family is Irish, it just kind of solidifies that lineage and what happens. I was getting into what it was like for you growing up, the relationship with your parents and everything. I guess what I'm really trying to ask is, what kind of kid were you growing up? What was school life like for you? And were you a good kid, a bad kid? Did you have anything going on that kind of pissed you off? That, I'm asking you to, I'm asking you to reach deep down inside and bring little Diddy out. Wow, that sounds weird. Don't bring little Diddy out. Don't bring little Diddy out.
For the most part, I was a decent student. My grades weren't the best. I have ADD really bad. I mean, I'm hyper. My son, I could tell already he's got it times 10. So he's 10 times worse than I was. He can't sit still. I couldn't sit still when I was a kid. I couldn't concentrate. I'm looking out the window to see what's going on outside. But I passed every year. I never failed. I never got left back. I never had to go to summer school. I passed all my major tests to go on. I don't know how I did it, but I did. Mm-hmm. School was rough when I was a kid. I couldn't pay attention. And even back then, the medications weren't that well. And, they put you on Ritalin. That didn't work. I mean, then the next thing you know, you get dopey and you can't pay attention. You still can't pay attention because now you're falling asleep in class. I mean, I don't know if the medications are better now, but
they are. I am. I have ADHD and I take Vyvanse actually to help me pay attention and stay focused. But yeah, there's a lot better. I know back in the day they didn't really know ADHD. Mental health in general it's a lot better now than what it was back then. Back then they were just kind of dabbing into it and finding out these things that may or may not help without really understanding all the side effects and stuff. But so what kind of clique did you run into? Were you a jock? I want to say you were a jock.
Oh, I really wasn't a jock. I didn't play. I played lacrosse when I got into high school. I didn't really play. I played roller hockey growing up, but there's no roller hockey in school, so I wasn't really part of the jock crew. Nah. I had friends. I had friends in every group, though. It was. I was good with almost everybody.
You were kind of like that.
People there.
You're
I'm a floater.
Like
I'll go around, but I really didn't have any jocks in my close group of friends. A couple of them, that played sports, but I wasn't part of the jock football team. Just hanging out with just the football team, and what I mean.
So what'd you do? Who did you hang out with? Like, what kind of kid were you, man? Like, you're being very basic. Are you afraid to open up? It's okay. Relax. Dude, what kind of kid were you, man? Like, were you a good kid? Did you follow the rules?
I never really got into trouble.
That's it. You just never got into trouble.
I really didn't. I mean,
did you hang out with anybody that got into trouble? So you were like, you know what? You sound like you were the good kid, like the kid that was almost too good.
No, everybody has their mix of friends that they take the wrong path in life. And growing up, you hear about this one passed away, this one overdosed, this one's, it's sad. I mean, the people in my town, a lot of people got into heroin, especially after my age. There wasn't really too much heavy drug use at my age. And you hear later in life, these people are dying from drug addiction. But, even I remember when I was in high school, we weren't drinking and driving. We were good for the most part. Everybody.
Did you ever get into any trouble when you were a kid?
I never got into trouble as a kid. I got a couple times, but nothing crazy.
Well, what's nothing crazy?
The cops chasing you out of the park or chasing you out of the parking lot you're drinking at, nothing. I never got arrested, nothing like that.
Ah, okay. So yeah, basically basic teenager shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And the relationship with your parents was pretty good. You're like the good kid, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, my father's 6'2", huge. You mess up, you get the shit slapped out of you, So you didn't want to come. You didn't want to get in trouble with him.
I bet not. What was it like with your friends? Were you like a ladies' man? You look like a ladies' man. That's why I'm asking.
To be honest, I wasn't. I was never a ladies' man.
You were never a ladies'. So you were a man's man.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell to call it.
I don't know what you want to call it either.
But I didn't have the ladies flocking to me. If that's what you're saying, you know.
Well, I'm not saying ladies flocking to you. Maybe you flocking to all the ladies.
But maybe flocking to them a little bit and getting turned away nonstop. But
come on now. I mean, you found your wife somehow. Okay, you know what?
Yeah, well, I've been with her since I was 20 years old. So we've been together for a long time.
Yeah, you have
over 20 years.
So you met her at the rolling rink. Now, for everybody listening, especially the younger generation, you might not know about the roller rink and what it meant to us growing up in the 90s. The 90s, the rolling rink was the place to go and hang out. You would skate around in a circle. You would find your new girlfriend there, and you would dump her later on and find another one there later on.
You're holding someone else's hand, and
yeah, next thing you know, you're holding someone else's hand, or they're holding your hand. It was the spot to hang out, right? And it was just the thing to do, and it was like that across the country, obviously. But you worked there, and you said you started working there. How old?
I was 15 when I started working there.
15 when you started working there. And usually when you went to those places, that's about how old everybody was who was operating the roller rink. You had a DJ doing the music. They would have couple skate time. They would have speed skating. They try to mix it up. It was fun. And, you get food, drinks, all that other fun stuff. But you worked there. And sometimes when you work there, you get to see all the knuckleheads that come out there and everything else. However, you were one of those knuckleheads. I'm gonna guess when you weren't working, you would hang out there too.
You know what? The age cutoff, it went from like, I think when I was after I left there, they opened it up and it was like pretty much all ages. But when I went up to like 13, 14 years old, and then it went to adult skating, so you got to be 18 and over, 20 and over, whatever it was. So at that point, you're working there as all 13, 14-year-olds skating around,
Yeah, but at 15 years old, meeting a 14-year-old ain't that big.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're good then. You're good.
Yeah, you're good then.
and the girls, they love the floor guards,
And is that what you did? You were a floor guard?
Yeah, I did it all. I DJ'd. I would skate. I worked in the snack bar. I did it all.
So you met your wife there. How old were you when you met your wife? Well, you were 20. You were 20.
I was younger than that. I was probably like 16, 17.
And she was, what was she?
Yeah, we were friends. We were friends in the beginning. She worked in the, I don't know, a hostess. She would do the birthday parties, bring the pizzas out to the table.
Oh,
pizza,
okay.
hot dog.
So she was a coworker.
Yeah.
Oh, I was about to say, what are you doing? 16 years old, hitting on a 13, 14-year-old.
No.
Okay. And was it just, after a couple of years, you finally got the balls and said, hey, will you go on a date with me or something? Or
yeah, I don't even know how it happened, to be honest with you. Just pretty much. Hang out the bars. That's when I just turned 21 and she was 19. And we lived close to a college town. And there was a million bars over there. And, it didn't matter how old you were. We were getting into all these places,
Right.
And, we would go out there every weekend. And through the rink, we knew some of the older kids that used to work there, and they would bartend over there. And $20 a head. Every single, any guy you were with, $20 a man. And you drink all night. And, you were like the king. It's like, let me get 20 shots. And people are like, who's this guy?
Holy shit.
We're handing, it was great, though. Most of the bars were run by fraternities. And, my cousin was in one of the fraternities, and, we would hang out by the college all the time.
What was your relationship like growing up? Well, with your wife? Like, how did that go? She always knew you wanted to be a cop, right?
Yeah, no, she knew. She knew what she got herself into.
Yeah. Well, you said if I remember correctly, you said you did not do the college thing. Yeah, there she is in the background. Hi, welcome to the What Makes Us Fire podcast. Too late. You are. You said you didn't do the college thing, huh? So after high school, you were still working.
I actually went to a business school.
You went to a business school?
Yes. I got my degree in touch typing. It was great. It was the best school ever. You learned to type. It was we're learning secretarial stuff pretty much.
That's it.
There's accounting and business related things. It was easy. It was more of a trade school to get you out and get you ready if you wanted to.
Well, if you always wanted to be a cop, why? I don't understand.
You need 60 college credits to get into the police department. So, get
really?
those credits somewhere. Yeah.
Well, so up there they didn't offer like a college course for the police department. Like down here, well, nowadays I don't know what it was like back then, but they'll send you to go get your TCLIS, which is your Texas Commission of Licensed Peace Officer, right? You have to get a peace officer license, but it's a college course here that you can do in 2 semesters and everything. And then you take your test, you take your state test and everything else. And they didn't have anything like that up there.
No, our department, the training is through our department.
That's it.
It's a large department. And you go into the academy there, you get college credits for that too. I don't know how many credits you get, but it's a 6-month academy.
Apparently you don't get 60 credits.
No, definitely not 60. You need those 60 to get in. I mean, I don't know how many you get, but every training that you go to and is college credits. I mean, at some point I could finish it off and combine all my credits and finish it off somehow, but I don't know.
Well,
School was never for me.
Yeah, well, that doesn't make any sense to me though. Like, so we're gonna get into this because a lot of people, especially nowadays, and the reason why I want to get into this is a lot of people are saying it's too easy to become a cop. It's too easy to become a firefighter. We should be putting them through more training, and this is something that we've heard lately, right? This is something that's become a social, quote unquote, a social issue, and I want to kind of learn what the process was. I mean, you've been in the department for how long now?
17 and a half years.
17 and a half years. So 17 years ago, you needed 60 college hours, and it sounded like they gave
credits, not hours. Credits.
Sorry, 60 college credits, and it sounds like they can give fuck all on whether or not those credits actually
doesn't matter
pertained.
What the credits are for.
Right.
Criminal justice. Like I went business. It doesn't matter what you got art classes as long as you got 60 credits.
See, says that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would you waste the time on college credits and hours if it's not pertaining to job specific requirements? So this is something that people listening that might have an issue with cops not having enough training, they hear this and they're like, are you telling me this guy could have done 60 college credits on, I don't know, fucking herbology? He can be learning how to grow cilantro for 60 credits, and that's going to be enough for him to go into the police academy where he's at. Like,
you know what I think it is? I think it's more of a maturity thing. Hopefully you get your 4 years of college, you get your degree, and you're 21 years old, you're ready to go in the police department. But I think it's more of a maturity thing. They're not going to take you on at 18 years old. It's either you do your 60 college credits or however many credits you do, or you go through the military. You have your military service. You don't need college either. So I think it's more of a maturity thing,
So you think they require it for you to get some life experience before you actually go and become a police officer?
Yeah, definitely. That's my hopes. I mean, there's some departments you don't need college credits.
Right. And there are some departments that you don't need college credits, but they still put you through their own academy. Do you know how many hours of the academy that you had to go through?
Well, it's 6 months and 40 hours a week. So, I mean, I don't know the exact hours, but.
Holy shit. So you had to go through an actual police academy that was 6 months long, 40 hours a week.
5 days a week.
I mean, you were getting paid.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting paid for this training.
Not the best, but,
Well, no, I think they're not going to pay you the best. I mean, you might flunk out and then that's money wasted. Man, my hat keeps, I don't know what's going on with it. Does it look good? I don't know.
You're looking handsome, bro.
All right. Anyway, sorry, sidetrack. ADHD, bro. ADHD.
You're right.
I told you. Squirrel. Okay, so you still have to go, even with your 60 credits of fuck all science or whatever the hell that can pertain to the job or cannot, you still have to go through 6 months of training that pertains specifically to the job.
Yeah. Yep. To the job, the department that you're working, the city you're working, the county.
Uh-huh. And that's like that for most places that you know?
Everywhere in New York is pretty much like that. I mean, it's either you work in the city, you work in one of the counties, state police. If you work in a village, like on Long Island, we have 2 counties and villages. If you're on a village police department, you go through one of the academies. I mean, I've never seen anyone go through NYPD, but I've seen people go through Nassau Police Department, Suffolk Police Department, or the State Troopers Police Academy. Village guys, whatever class is going in, they'll go in. A Port Authority is the same. Well, Port Authority, I think, has their own academy.
Yeah, Port Authority that's more because you're dealing with like federal level shit at Port Authority.
Yeah,
at least I know all Port Authority is like federal level shit, because they deal with a lot of goods and shit coming in and out of the United States. So Port Authority is a whole different fucking ballgame. Oh, yeah. Well, that's interesting. Because I know here in the South, here in the Texas area, you have to go to college. They send you to college to get your credits, but to get your...
Is that like your police academy, though?
It's their peace officer certification. So they'll go and get a peace officer certification. So they learn all the Texas state laws. They learn all the federal laws for being a peace officer. They go through all their training. They do their physical stuff. They do the state training, the national training. They do the testing, all that stuff. They get all those certifications while they're in college. Then the department, if the department has or requires them to go through a department academy, like, so each department is different, i.e. city or county. She keeps jumping in and out of the background. It's going to be great on YouTube, by the way. The department and or county, or, depending on who you're working for, PD wise, will put you through their own training and or probationary period where you have to learn all the ins and outs of that specific place. That's the way it works here in Texas that I know, because it's very, I can't believe I'm admitting this. And this is the first time I've actually said this. I actually applied to be a police officer prior to getting hired on to the fire department.
What did you say?
Yeah.
I didn't hear you. Hold on, let me turn my volume up a little bit.
I actually applied to become a police officer before I got hired onto the fire department.
Wow.
There's a backstory. There's a backstory. You asshole. There's a backstory. So I went and I got my fire certification. I got my state fire certification. I had, the national fire certification. So I was NFPA certified, National Fire Protection Agency certified firefighter, but I wasn't hired on to a fire department yet. And I had to hurry because you have to keep up those credits to keep your certification, right?
Yeah.
So I had to get hired on somewhere. And I figured, well, if I can't get hired on by a fire department, maybe I can get hired onto a police department and then go to the fire marshal's office. At least that will be my route into the fire department if I can't get directly onto the fire department, right?
Yeah.
So I went and I tested for the city that I live in, the local city that I live in. And I got I passed all the physical, I passed the written, the civil service exam, everything. I passed the panel, the interview panel, and it came down to the psych evaluation. Apparently I was either too crazy or not crazy enough to be a police officer there, right? Here's the kicker. A few months later, I get a call and I get hired on to the fire department that I'm with now. And I get to my psych eval where you have we got to do the test and then we have to talk with the psych doctor. It was the same fucking psych doctor that failed me for the police job, but passed me for the fire job. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think he remembered who I was. I don't think he remembered.
Probably not. I mean, how many people does he go through in a year? Yeah,
probably. But even still, it was like, what? Like, bro, how are you gonna? I mean, thank you.
I'm sure the qualifications are not qualifications, but the threshold is a lot different as a police officer or a fireman. Because you're carrying a firearm and.
Oh no! The standard to be a police officer is way lower than to be a firefighter. He definitely thought.
Apparently, not for the psych evaluation.
the thing is that he thought I was, I was just too good to be a police officer, but just right to be a firefighter.
There you go. You found your fit. You found your calling.
Yeah, but that's what it was, man. The same fucking psych doctor passed me for the fire department.
I think we need to reevaluate this guy. That's what I think.
No shit.
This guy? Let's
right?
reevaluate him.
No shit. Anyway, but yeah, so you guys go through 6 months of training, no matter the credits that you have going into it. I do think if there was a theory as to why they do that, I like yours in that you think that they're wanting somebody coming in to have at least some life experience or some maturity level coming in, and you don't hear of too many 18, 19-year-old police officers. Most of them are in their early 20s. 18, 19 is the time they spend in school getting their associate's degree in criminal justice or something to that effect before they go off and become a police officer. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, but if you graduate high school, you're 18 years old, and you can't get on the police department until you're 21, what are you doing for those 3 or 4 years? That's the thing. I mean, that's why, I mean, it should be, you should have to do some sort of college or military. I kind of agree with that, to be honest with you.
I do. And that makes sense to me. I get it.
Yeah.
Like it teaches you a little bit of responsibility coming right out of high school. Not saying
unless the police department has a program for, a junior police officer or something where you work there and,
I mean, like a security position or something, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting because lately you've heard you hear the thing that they want police officers to be trained more or trained better. I don't know what kind of measuring stick that they're trying to use or
are they using a measuring stick? Where are they getting this from?
Exactly. Like what kind of okay, so here's the training they go through now. What more do you want, or what are you trying to? I don't understand. I don't understand the thought process. But hearing when I first heard what you said, they wanted 60 credit hours. You did, fuck all business credits, and then you went to the police department, and then you had to go to that. I was just like, well, hold on. Why are they just allowing any credits? But then you tell me, well, 6 months of a police academy. I mean, that's 6 months. That's a long time just to go through training. Think of any other job.
Full days,
Think of any other job. I think at the most, before I became a firefighter, the most training I ever had to do at a place was maybe 2 months, 3 months. And I think
the fire academy up here is I think it's like 3 or 4 months.
The fire academy is 3 or 4 months?
I think so.
Yeah, for us to get our national...
it's definitely not 6 months.
Well, the NFPA, now, I do know, nationwide, all firefighters have to get their NFPA certification. And that can take either, 4 to 6 months if you do like the fast track. It took me 2 semesters, so it took me 8 months because they also want you to get your EMT certification as well.
Okay, I'm sure they do that in New York also, right?
No, yeah. They do.
The first guys on scene are usually the truck. It's like, the ambulance.
Wait, stop. Say that again. Who's usually first on scene?
The first one's usually the police. But then comes the fire truck and the ambulance comes 10 minutes later.
You said it right the first time. The fire truck's usually first on scene. You said it right the first time. You don't have to change it.
They are sitting around all day. I mean, it's not much going on. Taking naps, cooking dinner, 6-course meals.
Yeah, we're also working 24 hours, not 8.
Oh, stop it. That's by choice.
Oh, right. We chose the better.
Yeah, these guys everybody's got 8-hour shifts here. They just do doubles, triples, quadruples. So.
Oh, okay. So well, like here down here, I work a 48.96. So I am on shift for 48 hours, but then I'm off for 4 days. So, there's different schedules and everything like that when it comes to the fire department.
I mean, these guys do the same thing. It's just, none of them are doing 8 hours. Everybody's doing their mutuals to get, to work 24-hour shifts.
Hell yeah. I mean, I would too.
Why not? You're a fool not to.
Yeah. I mean, shit, work a 24-hour shift, have the next 4 days off. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Unless you're a fire marshal. Those guys are working normal schedules.
Yes. So
they're working 8-hour days.
So for everybody that doesn't understand the difference between a fire marshal and a firefighter, fire marshals is basically a firefighter with a police badge. He is actually a licensed peace officer. However, his main job is to enforce codes and to do inspections of buildings to make sure they follow those codes, those fire prevention codes and everything else. That is basically what a fire marshal's job is.
What about fire investigations? You guys do that there too? Or?
Yes, they do. Yeah. But our fire marshal's office manages the fire investigation. So our fire marshals are the fire investigators as well. So I mean, they're basically
our department
fire detectives.
has Austin explosion guys, and the fire department has marshals, and they're hired through the fire department. I mean, I don't know how it is there, but it's guys that were firemen become fire marshals.
They're hired through the fire department, but there's kind of like this. The fire department holds the fire marshals certifications, gives them their CEs, their continuing education hours, and everything else like that. So it is held, but I know down here they usually want a police department to hold the fire marshal certification because they are technically a peace officer, right? So, that's the reason why I wanted to go through all that. And I'm sorry for kind of bunny trailing off into all that. Because of current situations and the arguments being made for all that shit, I wanted to kind of go into it, and I appreciate you diving into a little bit about what you did and why you did it. We went from what? Your wife understanding that you were wanting to be a police officer. So she understood that you were just doing business classes just to get the credits so you can get into the police
and she understood what I was going to, the hours, and during the academy, it was after the academy, working 4 to 12s, never home, working the opposite hours. You're lucky if you have one day off together,
Mm-hmm. And that's something like I want to dive into, like the relationship aspect of being with a civil servant. And maybe I need to ask her this, but when you obviously knew what it could kind of entail coming from a family that had lineage in the police department, right? So you knew what it was going to be like. You saw your father go through it. You saw how the relationship was with your father and your mother while he was going through it. I'm sure you saw a little bit of your grandfather, your uncle.
Yep.
And so you kind of understood what that dynamic could possibly turn out to be looking like, right? When you got with your wife and this dynamic started to take fold, was there any type of issue that kind of came up from it?
To be honest with you, there never was. We never had any issues. She understood what she was getting into, what dating a police officer, marrying a police officer is. I mean, there's days you're not going to be home. There's holidays you're not going to be home. You're going to miss birthdays, anniversaries. It's going to happen.
And so she never brought up issue with it, huh?
No. I mean, like I said, she knew from the get-go what she was getting herself into. I'm not going to be.
Go ahead. No, you're not going to be home.
Yeah.
Did she come from a family that had police officers in it?
No law enforcement in her family. There's no firemen either. No firefighters either.
See, that's strange.
A couple sanitation guys. Her father was a truck mechanic, a diesel mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Was. He's retired now.
But see, that's interesting to me, though, because it's very rare that you find a partner, spouse, that is going to be completely understanding of what the job's going to bring, right?
Yeah.
And when I say completely understanding, it's more than just the hours missed, the holidays missed, the birthdays missed. It's more than just the schedules not aligning. But on top of all that, understanding what the job can possibly do to the person, their spouse, right? It's very rare that you find somebody that understands that before knowing anything about it.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting that she understood all that, or not necessarily understood it, but was 100% going to be like, hey, whatever, come what may, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And, that's a rare find. So I got to say, brother, you're lucky in that. I had, during my marriage and everything, I had some issue where we got into headbutts because of the job. Either it wasn't making enough money, or it was gone all the time, or it was, you never have any time off, you're always tired, or why are you sad right now? Because of the job, things I've seen. Why are you upset? Why are you being short? It was way more than just the time. And she didn't fully grasp of what being with a civil servant firefighter was going to be like.
Yeah.
How in the hell did you find somebody that was, I'm sure she didn't fully grasp it, but she said, fuck
and
it,
nobody's going to fully grasp it. I mean, just going towards your thing, your organization, mental health, I mean, that's something that your spouse will never know about. What's going on at work, what you're seeing, what you're trying to keep away from them. You don't want to let them know what you're seeing at work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one thing that no spouse will ever understand. I mean, the things you see, things that happen. I mean,
I'm not going to say no spouse is ever going to understand. I'm going to have to disagree with you there. There are some, like mine. I'm, just to be 100%, vulnerable here. I am going through a divorce right now, and it's because it all stemmed from my mental health and what I had to do to start getting better. But the things that I was dealing with came from way in my past before I was ever a firefighter, all the way up to dealing with things in the job and everything else. But during our couples therapy, she made it known that I want to know. I want you to help me understand what's going on in your head. So I started sharing with her the things that bothered me, the things that let me rephrase. I wouldn't say bothered me. I would say had an effect on me.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it was going to be temporary or a little bit longer than temporary, that was, of course, remain to be seen. But she wanted to know, and I have to give kudos to her, because she was like, look, I might not understand it because I wasn't actually there to see it, smell it, taste it, touch it. But I want to know as much as possible so I can understand what you're going through. So I can try to be as close to the same page as you, so that when you do have these spouts, I have more of an understanding.
Yeah.
And so I have to give her kudos for that. Is she going to ever know the complete thing? No, she wasn't there. She doesn't do the job. But I think a spouse can know if you communicate with them what it is that's ailing you, that's temporarily or could possibly forever affect you. And so I have to disagree with you on the fact that they will never know. I think it's a choice to know.
Yeah.
I'll say that. What do you think?
I think that there's things that they will never know, things that you see that you're never going to tell her, that they don't want to hear. You know what I'm getting at? I'm not talking about, like, you have an issue with someone at work. I'm talking about the things you see. I mean, you're seeing deaths,
right? And
abuse of children, abuse of animals, and torturing children, torturing animals, torturing people, suicides. Things you don't want to talk about that with your wife. And they don't want to hear it.
How do you know they don't want to hear it?
Nobody wants to hear it. I wouldn't want to tell anybody that. And no matter what, she could tell me I want to hear it. I'm not going to tell her what everything I see. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting thing, and I want to dive into this with you. And fuck it. We're going to say Diddy was a damn good child. He was the poster boy of a young child, the poster boy of a brother. He never got into any trouble. He worked at a rolling rink. He met his wife. Yay for his past. Okay, let's dive into it. Sorry. Now, I have other guests that had a lot of turmoil in their past and everything else, and I'll dive into that with them. But it sounds like you had a pretty damn good childhood, so I don't want to keep beating the horse. If you had a good childhood, you had a good childhood, man. Not everybody has a shitty childhood. But we're going to get into this, and it's interesting that you said nobody wants to hear that. And I'm going to challenge you.
I'm not, and I don't want to even give examples of what I'm talking about because I don't nobody wants to hear it.
I get it. No. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. The fact that you say nobody wants to hear it is the stigma. Like you're perpetuating the stigma right now. Not a good or bad thing. It's just what it is, right? You're assuming nobody wants to hear what's bothering you. You're assuming nobody wants to hear the bad shit that's stuck in your head, right? And why? Because you want to forget it. And the reason you don't want to share it and the reason you don't believe anybody would want to hear it is because you don't even want to remember it. You never wanted to see it, right? And so it's not an uneducated assumption. It's an assumption based on your feelings, based on how you feel with it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's not right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's just how you see it. But I want to challenge you on that thinking. I'm not going to say you're right or wrong. I just want to challenge you.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because, brother, I've done a lot of research on this since I started doing what I'm doing with the nonprofit and the podcast and everything. I've done a lot of research on mental health, a lot of research on the things people have found to help deal with the PTSD, to deal with the depression and anxiety, and how to help relationships and understanding when it comes to dealing with a civil service member that sees these kind of things, that has to deal with these kinds of things, right? My challenge to you is don't assume that they don't want to hear it. And here's the reason why. Let me start off with an example. And not all example. Obviously, there's going to be there will always be an X factor or a Z factor that comes into play that obviously you can't do anything about. But usually, all right, this is where my example comes from. Usual circumstances. You come home, you saw some shit, you're not your normal self, your family's picking up on it, your spouse is picking up on it, you're a little short, you are depressed, maybe you're upset and angry, maybe it's coming out a little bit towards your family. Obviously, they're not the cause of it. It's just, when you're mad and you talk to somebody, like your best friend, hey man, what's up? Why the fuck you asking me? Sorry, man. Sorry. I'm just a little bit upset. I'm sorry. Right? Like it's that kind of thing, right? You're upset. You're holding this shit in because you're assuming that they don't want to hear it. And you don't want to share it because you didn't want to see it. However, if you were able to open up a little bit, you don't have to give all the gory details. But if you open up a little bit and let them know, hey, it's because I saw something really bad at work today, or I had to deal with something kind of extraordinary in that it's not like an everyday thing that I see or have to deal with. It's kind of hitting me a little bit hard. Really? What was it? I saw a kid that was tortured. Oh, okay. That's all you got to say. You don't have to get into the gory details. But that allows your spouse to know, all right, his current emotional state is not because of home. It's because of work. It allows them to know that you're not popping off because of them, but maybe it's because you're dealing with something else internally, right? So I challenge your saying, and yeah, maybe they don't want to hear all the gory details unless they ask, but at least you can give them a general summary. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And the reason why I say that is because, everybody says to leave work at the door when you come home, leave home at the door when you come to work. However, our brains don't work like that. How often have you gone to work and you just had a fight with the wife and you're still thinking about the fight while you're at work? You just don't forget about it. It doesn't happen that way. Yeah, you're focused on work, But every now and then that fight comes up and you're like, oh, I should have said that, or you know what, I was wrong, or probably with your case is probably, oh, I was wrong. And but like the human brain doesn't work that way. But if we start communicating what's going on with ourselves, with our peers, with our spouses, with our families, it allows the conversation to open up, and it allows understanding to be there. What usually happens when it comes to, and when you hear about people that don't work out, spouses or, you know, partnerships and stuff like that, is that they were always angry. They were always sad. They were always mean. And it wasn't necessarily because of their partner or spouse, but it was because of what they were dealing with on the job. And they were just never open enough to just talk about it. They felt like, if I just hold this in, they don't have to deal with it. Now we are doing it to spare them the grief or the...
You know what though? I mean, most first responders are that way. And it's just, a lot of it, you just don't want to talk about it. And you'd rather hold it in, you know? I mean, we're the first responders. We're the ones that are called to help people, and we're not the ones to ask for help. You know what I mean?
But where do you think that came from, though? You see, that's my point. Is where did that come from? Where did it come from?
That's always the way it's been. That's always the way it will be. You know, I don't think there's any fixing that.
I think you're wrong in that, and that I will say I think you're wrong in. I think there is fixing that, and the way to fix that is to change the mindset.
You don't think this has been talked about since the beginning of time?
Not like this, not like it is nowadays. Absolutely not. No. And since the beginning of time, it's been like what you said. Keep it in.
Yeah.
Don't share. Since the beginning of time, that's what it's been. But I think the narrative is changing. I think the idea is changing. And for the better. It needs to start changing for the better. Because what we've been doing, the holding it in, the not sharing, the not going to talk to somebody, the not seeking help for dealing with the things, is literally killing us. And I say it's killing us because it's affecting our mental health state to the point where we're resorting to suicide. Yeah. I don't know if you know the numbers all too well, but civil service members are killing themselves at a 4 times greater rate than the general public.
So what do you know what the numbers are 20 years ago with suicide rate?
I'm sure.
You think it's lower? What do you think? It's more now? What do you think?
I think it's starting to go down from where it was 20 years ago.
So the last couple of years, I've never seen it this bad.
Well, because now it's more brought into light, right? So back in the day, let me rephrase what I'm saying. The research that I've done is addiction is lower, suicide climbed a little bit. Okay, so back in the day, when they had problems or when you had a problem, suicide was not the answer. It was addiction. So you saw a lot of civil service members fall into alcoholism and drug use. And that ended up killing them. So it was a form of suicide, but it was like a slow suicide. It was like an addiction form of suicide. It was an unintentional, but it was killing them slowly. Yeah. Now it's, well, I don't have to do the addiction thing. I can just go straight and go for it. It's not the right answer. Neither one of them is the right answer. Nowadays, people are starting to talk about it more. The narrative is changing. The whole keeping it in, don't tell anybody that it's bothering you or affecting you is changing. And it needs to, because that's the thing. And those are the things that are literally killing people.
Yeah.
They're holding it in so much that they feel like the only way out is suicide. And the numbers don't lie. I mean, just in 2019 alone, just for firefighters, I don't know the statistics for police officers, but just for firefighters in 2019 alone, more firefighters died via suicide than they did in the line of duty. Like, that number fucking blows my mind. You know, the leading cause of line of duty deaths is heart attack on the fire ground. Right? Like,
yep.
Well, let me rephrase. Now it's cancer, but cancer is a long form and usually doesn't hit them until after retirement. But on the fire ground, the number one cause of death is heart attack, followed by, collapse, entrapments, falls, and everything else. But that, with all those things, firefighters in 2019 were dying more by suicide than they were by line of duty deaths. Both are horrific, but the fact that they thought they had to take their own life instead of doing the job, and it just it blew my mind. And it was showing that we're not talking about the things in our head enough. The narrative had not changed enough, and it's a hard fight, man. It's a hard fucking fight. How do you convince people that are in this profession? Like you said, we're the ones that go to help. We're not the ones that ask for help. How do you convince them to ask for help?
And the issue with being a police officer, I mean, you come forward and you tell someone what you're thinking, whether it's true or not. I mean, everyone says, if I come forward and say I want to hurt myself, you're never getting your gun back. You're going to be behind a desk. So you get penalized for coming forward to say I need help. And whether it's true or not, which it probably is, that's the main reason why people aren't coming forward.
Do you really think it is true, though?
Yeah.
Why do you think that's true? Have you heard of anybody doing that?
No, but it's definitely true.
I don't understand how you can say it's definitely true if you've never even have one person that you know of.
Because you hear, because I've heard of people who have had. It's very hard to get your gun back when you're going through something like that.
And I'm not disputing. I don't know. Right? I don't know the statistics on that, and I should probably do a little bit more research on that. But I don't think that it's as true as we might believe. I think what you said, it's very difficult to get your gun back. I think that might be true. Yeah, absolutely. And it should be difficult to get your gun back. It should be.
And especially 2 years, I think it was 2 years ago, double digit suicides on our department. And there's no doctor that's going to rush anyone back when the suicide rate is that high.
Absolutely.
They want to cover themselves, and it's going to take a long time to get your gun back if you ever get it back. I mean, that's everybody's opinion. Whether it's true, I don't know.
Do you think they should get their gun back as soon as they go to like one therapy session?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay. So what's more important? That's the question, right? What's more important?
Well, and again, this is something that is discussed all the time now. I come forward and I say, I want to hurt myself. Now you're taking off of whatever you're doing. You're not making money. You're not making overtime. You can't support your family. That's what's going through people's heads. 100%.
And I agree with you on that. Because when I felt like, hey, I should go get some help, and they said, okay, well, if you go get help, you're going to be gone for this long. Well, that means I wasn't going to work overtime. That means maybe. But
you know what the problem is? The job is the problem. The job's telling you, well, you're going to do that. You're not going to make money. You're not going to make overtime. You're not going to. Like, that's the job saying this to you. You know what I mean? That's a problem.
That is a problem. Oh, I get it. And that's why I created the nonprofit, because I found that to be a problem for myself. I wasn't able to work my second job. I wasn't able to work overtime. I was, workman's comp. Well, if you go on from workman's comp, you're only making a percentage of your base pay. You're not making your full base pay. You're only making a percentage of your base pay. Sure, your treatment's covered if you can convince workman's comp that you needed the mental health help because of the job. So first you have to convince workman's comp, hey, I need this help because of the stuff on the job, right? All right, cool. We'll pay for that. But while you're gone, you're only going to make a percentage of your baseline paycheck. Well, shit. Well, now what's my family going to do? Sure, I'm getting help, but what's my family going to do? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Issue.
Right?
That's the main issue.
It's a huge issue. Finances. And that's why I created the nonprofit, because I didn't want finances to be a deciding factor. My point being, and I do agree with you. I think it's the policy set in place for help, for mental health help, for health help in general, that really kind of screw us as civil service members going and making the steps to get the help that we want and need. I agree with you. I don't think that's false in any sense of the imagination, that the policies set forth for the departments, the cities, the counties, the states that we work for, the policies they're juvenile, right? Because mental health and what we need to do for our own mental health within the civil service area is juvenile as well. It's young. We're still learning a lot. There's still a lot of studies being done. We're still not completely understanding why. I have a theory. My theory is that we have been taught the whole, like you said before, you keep it in. We don't ask for help. We give help. That mindset is so ingrained into who we are and what we become within the job that stigma is hard to break. It's hard to break through, because it's literally, we have to change the mindset first. Before we change policy, before we change anything else, we have to change the mindset first, that it's okay to ask for help.
The question is how?
Exactly. Because when you do ask for help, now, okay, great, I asked for help. Now here's all the policies and everything else that we have to deal with. I asked for help, but now I'm out of work. Now I don't have any money. Now, great, I'm going to get help, but what's my family going to do? Like, this whole nother stress level comes on after you ask for help. When you ask for help, there shouldn't be any stress level after that. Your stress should actually start going down after you ask for help, but it's actually adding on. It's this conundrum. It's this damned if you do, damned if you don't thing that we got going on right now. And that's what I'm trying to change. But until mental health, with policy wise, in how we treat the civil service members that are working when it comes to their mental health, until we change those policies, it's going to take people willing to understand that their mental health is more important than the job. And that is a very, very, very hard idea to break through to people.
It is.
Why do you think that is, though?
I don't know. That's the question of the lifetime. No, really, I mean, that's the issue.
Well, I mean, let's say you went to ask for help right now, and we're not going to dog on anything, but what would your concerns be if you said, hey, I need some mental health help now? What kind of concerns would you have?
You know what? I'm not having those issues right now, so I wouldn't know. I mean, some people are going through financial difficulties. They lost, they're losing their house, they lost their car, and now they're like, if I come forward, I'm not going to make overtime. I'm not going to make any money. I'm going to go deeper into debt.
So you think a lot of it is financially driven?
I mean, a lot of the time you hear the guy was having financial problems. You know, I mean, I don't know.
It's hard to.
Is that the reason, or is he just? You never know the reason why someone does that.
You don't. You don't. And I guess I'm gonna step back and ask you a personal question first. Have you ever dealt with any type of mental health issues? No. Depression, anxiety. You deal with ADHD. That's a mental health issue, but that's a manageable mental health issue. Yeah. Not the easiest manageable, but it is manageable. But you've never dealt with like depression, anxiety, PTSD, or anything else like that?
No.
Not
so asking me these questions, it's hard to, I can't give an opinion because I don't know. I've never been through it. You know what I mean? And I think all the time when you hear something like that, when you hear a friend that killed off, it's like, why would they do that? Why would it's the most, I think it's the most selfish thing you could do. But you know what? I'm not going through that. I don't know what's going through their head. None of us know what's going through their head.
But I don't think that me asking you these questions is not, I think you can ask anybody these questions, whether you've dealt with mental health issues or not, whether you've dealt with depression or anxiety or not, because I'm asking you, hey, did you ever deal with these things? No. Okay. So how would you deal with it if you did? The reason I'm asking you this is because, well, it's making you think about it now, right? It's making
Yeah.
it's having you put yourself in that situation where, okay, if I ask for help, what kind of situations would that put me in?
But I'm not in that. I don't know. I'm not in financial problems. I don't have a drink. You never know what, it could be anything. Like you wouldn't know unless you're going through it.
That's true.
I don't know if I would ask for help, if I wouldn't ask for help. I don't know. You know what I mean?
You don't know what kind of person are you? Have you ever had to ask for help before? For anything?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's asked for help.
Right. So do you think that would be anything different than asking for mental health help?
I don't know.
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No, I mean, no, that's a tough question. I mean, I mean, through my career, 17 years, I've probably seen 100 police officers that killed themselves. They didn't ask for help. Why? I don't know. Why didn't you ask for help? You know, these are people that you worked with every day. They seemed all right. There was never an issue. And the next day you find out they're not there anymore. Like, what was wrong? I don't know.
Have you known anybody to ask for help? Nobody. It can be anybody, not necessarily any profession.
And you know what? If they have asked for help, you probably would never know.
Really?
You could come forward and say, I have a drinking problem, and they'll take you out, and nobody will know where you are. You're out sick.
Right. Do you think
there's organizations within the department that are outside the department that will get you the help you need? And I would think it would be the same thing with mental health. Like if you thought you go to that group, they'll pull you out. You'll be out sick for 6 months, and you'll be in some kind of inpatient, outpatient, getting treatment. I would think.
Mm-hmm. You just don't know anybody specifically that has done that.
That's told me I've been out for mental health reasons.
So, say if you did ask for mental health help, what kind of issues do you think you would hit? I mean, we talked about the possible financial ones.
Yeah.
What kind of family issues do you think maybe that would deal with? You would have to deal with.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you had one of those, you might be. I don't know what would happen if you asked for help. You got to be in some kind of inpatient place for 6 months. I don't even know what would happen. I don't know.
Do you think that's a common issue with what's going on? Do you think that's some information maybe that should be divulged to the police officers? Like, hey, if you ask for mental health help, this is the process that's going to happen. Do you think if that information was put out there, it would make it, at least it would make it an easier decision to make?
You know what? Anytime there's a forum where this is being talked about, people are like, I don't care if you tell me I'm good. It's going to get back to the department, and I'm never going to be a cop again. I'm going to be at a desk for the rest of my career. That's always what's said. Is that what's going to happen? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm not a police officer, so I can't speak on that end. But what I can speak on is on the fire end, at least in my area. There have been several guys that I know of that went to go get mental health help, got the help, and came back to the job.
Yeah.
They didn't take them off the truck. They didn't put them on light duty. They didn't give them any less stressors.
So they were working still while getting the help.
Yeah. Well, no, they took the time off to go get the help, right? They had their sick time. They had FMLA leave, Family Medical Leave Act.
But why should you need to use Family Medical Leave Act? You're not getting paid full money if you have to use that.
No, you're not. You're not.
So why should you have to use that if you need help? Well,
FMLA uses your sick time, right? So
why should you even have to burn sick time?
That's a good question.
And this is and chances are you're going through these issues, it's a line of duty thing. It's things that you saw you've dealt with while working.
So I've thought about that as well. And the only conclusion that I can come to without talking to the people that make the policies, mind you, the only conclusion that I can come to is, say you got a broken arm on the job, you will be off on sick time, right? Or workman's comp, and they're going to pull your hours from your sick time, right?
But that's sick time, a line of duty injury? You're burning regular sick time?
No, not necessarily. That's actually, see, that's where my theory it clashes, right? Because it's like, if it's line of duty, they don't charge you sick time. They put you like admin leave, right? It's administration leave. You get paid your normal pay, unless you're on workman's comp. Then workman's comp is going to pay you that percentage. And God willing, you have supplemental insurance, because then you can make a claim with them, and then they'll supplement that lost income.
But firemen have the supplemental insurance. They have what is it, Geico? No, not Geico. What's the other one?
Aflac.
Most firefighters have that. At least up here they do.
And the reason being is when you get hurt on the job, and you have to go on workman's comp.
Yeah,
that's the way it works. You get hurt on the job, you go to workman's comp. It's just how it works out. And so to supplement the lost income, they make a claim with their supplemental insurance, and that insurance will cover the costs. I am not 100% aware and or know of any supplemental insurance companies that supplement mental health leave. That's actually something I might need to look into, because if there is that's something that we should be pushing and letting people know. Hey, if you go get help and you get on workman's comp, you can still make at least your full base pay and not just the percentage, because you can make the claim with your supplemental insurance company. You won't be able to make the overtime, but at least you get your full base pay coming back to you.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a lot of all that we're talking about is like these huge financial issues.
Yeah.
Right? It's a huge financial burden. And believe it or not, one of the top 3 leading causes of divorce in general is finances.
Yeah.
Followed by adultery. Can you believe that? Adultery is after finances on the cause for a divorce.
Yeah. That's
isn't it?
Yeah.
Now imagine you're married to a civil service member.
Oh, it's like the divorce rate is like, it's through the roof to start. Two civil service members together, forget about it.
Yeah, we're in the top 5, right? On top of the mental health issues and the finances, because civil service members get paid shit. That is why everybody works extra jobs or overtime or a second job. It's the finances are a huge issue when it comes to getting any type of health help. That doesn't, like, I'm talking about just breaking an arm health help.
Yeah.
You want to get into mental health aspect of it and getting the help. Fuck. Like, add that on to your financial issues. Yeah. No, thank you. I'll continue dealing with it and suppressing it. And if it gets bad enough, the bridge is right over there. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
I don't understand the policies, and I want to get your take on what you think could happen. And that's why I said, do you think if somebody made a mental health help claim to a department, if the department said, okay, this, before you make the claim, this is what the process looks like, because they do it for our physical health all the time. Hey, if you get hurt on the job, this is what's going to happen, A, B, C, or D. You're going to go to physical therapy. This is how you're going to get paid, blah, 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 blah. They tell you everything. But they say shit all about mental health. Hey, if you make a mental health help claim, this is the process.
I think it's starting to get better now, but that's always been the issue.
Well, so what kind of policy changes would you like to see made? And not necessarily for yourself, but for the 100 police officers in your 17 years. What kind of policies do you think that policies, suggestions. I don't want to say policies because policies are so definite, but what kind of suggestions would you make towards a department or towards a city that says, hey, if these changes happened, we might be able to see a better turnout with the suicide rates going down and with your guys staying on the line and with your guys getting the help, guys and girls, let me rephrase. It's just, what kind of things do you think would need to change for that to happen?
I don't know. It's tough because, like I said, no matter what is done or said, people are going to still have that same mindset. I mean, they tell that now. I mean, you come forward, you're going to be good. People are like, no, there's no way.
But the thing is that, do you think that mindset would change if different policies were in place? I guess is my question. So say, hey, if you ask for help, this is what's going to happen. These are the policies we have in place for this. This is the timeline, the estimated timeline it looks like for you to get your gun back or for you to get back on the line. Like, do you think if they let those things known that more people would be apt to make a choice to go and get that help?
Maybe. I don't know.
I think it would. I think it would. I think that if you made it easier for people to understand what the process was if they asked for that help, that mindset of, I'm not going to tell anybody, I'm not going to talk to anybody, would change. Because now they are like, well, I can talk to somebody. I can tell somebody I need help because now I know what that help is going to look like and what I'm going to get from it.
Yeah.
I think the mindset would change. I think it's
you'd hope
unknowing.
So, at least, you know?
Well, I think it's the unknowing of what's going to happen to you if you ask for help that's keeping a lot of people from actually asking for help.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. 100%.
Well, you know, and I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, man. And you knew coming on the show that, you know, we're mental health forward, and I kind of wanted to get your perspective on what you think could help. I know you never had to actually deal with any type of suicidal ideations or depression or anything like that, but that makes it even more interesting to get your point of view because, you know, like, what do you do to stay sane? What do you do to stay okay?
I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. Most of these things, they do not bother me. The things I see, it doesn't bother me. I don't know. Other people, they'd want to leave the job. It doesn't bother me. Seeing crazy things. I don't know.
You think that's a trait that maybe because of the line of work your grandfather was in, your father was in, being in the same profession and hearing the kind of things and the stories growing up, you kind of had an idea already of what to expect?
Maybe. I don't know. I say it all the time. People are like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. It just doesn't bother me.
Like, at all. Not even the kid stuff.
No, it doesn't. I don't know. It really doesn't. And there's stuff that pisses me off, but like.
But like what?
I don't know. It doesn't bother me.
That's interesting, man.
There's not one person that I've spoken to that says, "Oh, I want to do that. I want to investigate crime. I want to investigate crimes against children."
Yeah, no. That's a very rare breed of person that would say something like that, or that fully understanding what that entails would be like, yeah, that sounds like something I would want to do. Yeah, it's a very rare breed of person after they know all the ins and outs still make that decision. But I think you having kind of the history and having the stories and everything from your father and your grandfather, your uncle, I think that, you know, when you grow up in it and you hear some of the stories and you understand what you're getting yourself into, you mentally prepare yourself without even actually knowing you're mentally preparing yourself.
Yeah. I'm sure that has something to do with it. But
you're completely blissfully ignorant. And when I say ignorant, I'm not meaning it like in a bad term, but like you're just blissfully ignorant of where that being okay with dealing with the shit came from.
I'm okay with it. I'm good with it. And you know, I could sit down, I could talk to these guys, and I'm fine. I mean, you have to, though. If you want to try and get a confession from someone, you got to be able to pretend to be at their level and side with them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Has there ever been anything that kind of stuck with you for a little bit longer than normal? Like a case or something like that? Maybe after it was all said and done, you were still like, man, that was really fucked up.
A lot of it. I mean, nothing crazy. It really sticks with me, you know? I don't know.
Man, you are a rare breed. I gotta say, you're kind of a rare breed in that, you know, even the hardest veteran still has that one call or that one job or that one investigation, whatever, that kind of like, I don't want to say, I guess haunts them because of what they saw or what they had to deal with, the people they had to talk to. Because I don't think people fully grasp that when you're in the civil service profession, be it EMT, firefighter, dispatch, police officer, or military, I mean, we deal with the shittiest of shitty people.
Yeah.
All the time. All the fucking time.
Yeah.
And we see some of the most horrific things that you would only see in fucking slasher movies that looks fake because you've seen it in a movie, but it's real. It's right in front of you. And your brain's trying to comprehend it. Like, am I actually seeing what I'm seeing right now? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do what we got to do. And I don't think the general population fully understands that.
Let me tell you, I've seen it all, and it does stick with you. I mean, I don't want to start talking about what I've seen, but you've seen plenty of deaths, car accidents, you know, like shootings, stabbings, homicide, anything. I mean, the stuff stays with you. I mean, I'm not saying I'm totally immune to it, but
it doesn't affect you to the point where you're losing sleep over it or anything like that.
No. And, you know, I've been doing what I've been doing now for 11 years. You know, that's a long time to be doing this.
It is. But I, you know, hey man, good on you. And if you're healthy and you're fine and you're sane, that's awesome. I'm happy for you that you have that mindset that allows you to just separate, you know, things to just the job level, because sometimes some people can't. And it's not right or wrong. It's not right or wrong. It's just people are different when they deal with that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean they can't do the job any less better.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Or anything else. It just means some things affect other people more than others. You happen to be somebody that the shit that you see doesn't affect you so much so that it puts you into any type of mental health state.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to talk to somebody like that because, you know, there's things that we as civil service members see that, I mean, it does stick with us. And sometimes we lose sleep over it. Sometimes, did we do everything? As an investigator, did you catch everything? Did you get every piece of evidence? Did you talk to everybody you needed to talk to? You know, if you've ever lost a case, I don't know if you have or not. That, you know, it's not my place. But, you know, did you do enough? You know, I can only imagine what it would feel like losing a case, being the lead investigator.
That's the last thing you want.
Right.
Especially when you're dealing with a crime against a child or a homicide. That's the last thing you want.
Right. You want to make sure. Yeah.
That guy gets out.
You want to make sure you crossed all your I's, dotted all your T's, make sure all the periods are there, the S's, the commas, everything is just, you got everything right. Not only to make sure that the right perpetrator gets put in jail, but make sure that you get the right perpetrator.
Keep them in jail. Right. And keep the right perpetrator in jail.
Right. And I want to make sure we say the right perpetrator in jail.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, we're seeing a lot of these Netflix specials now of innocent people or quote unquote innocent people.
You know, I mean, some of these shows, I still don't even know if they're innocent.
Yeah. And that's the thing though. But right. Could you imagine if you persecuted somebody, put them through the whole trial, got them convicted, and then a piece of evidence comes out 2 years later that exonerates them.
Yeah, they 100% weren't there. That would be a problem. That's
Right.
a problem.
Could you imagine what that would feel like to you as an investigator?
That'd be horrible.
What would that do to your psyche?
It would destroy you. I mean, that's the last thing you ever want.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's something. Could you imagine
And then
that happening?
and then to put the family through that. You arrested someone that didn't do it. 2 years later, the guy gets out. Where's the real killer? You know what I'm saying? That's a problem. The family's going to want to know what happened. I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be that person, to be honest with you.
And I'm assuming you've never been that person.
No.
Good. You're doing your job well, then, sir. Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, and I know a lot of the answers to my questions were I don't know, and that's fine. It's just interesting to talk to somebody that doesn't have a whole lot to fall back on when I talk about the subject, right?
With the what ifs. I mean, I've never went through mental health. I don't know how I'd feel. You know what I mean? It's like it's something I've never been through. I don't know what that person's going through that has the mental health. I don't know what's going through their mind. If I'm not going through it, I don't know. How am I going to give you an answer to it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm sure you've dealt with people in your life. I know for sure you've dealt with.
Everybody has. Everybody's got family members. Everybody's got family members that were alcoholics, that have mental health, that had drug addiction. I mean, I don't care what family you're in. Every family has that in your family. You know what I mean?
Right. And I guess that's where I'm asking you to kind of stem from. Like, what would you do to help that family member? What would your idea be to make or to help them? And I guess that's where a lot of my questions stem from, because when you haven't gone through it, I totally get not completely understanding how to answer the question. I completely.
You want to hear my answer on that? I'm going to be honest with you. You have a family member that you think may be addicted to a drug. Mm-hmm. But you don't know that for a fact. And it's like, I think they're on drugs, but I don't know if they are. Am I going to call them out? What am I going to do? It's like, what if I'm wrong? Mm-hmm. What if that person is not having mental health issues? What if they're not thinking about suicide? And you come forward and you say, I think this guy's suicidal. I think, if you, let's say your partner at work, like, how do I know this guy's suicidal? If I come forward and ruin this guy's life, and that's not what's going on. You know what I mean?
Right. You think about the possible repercussions of being wrong. Right.
Now you're ruining someone else. That person's never going to talk to you again.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they're never going to talk to you again? Or do you think there's a way that maybe you can possibly come at them in a way that would allow them to feel safe enough to let you know whether or not they are having an issue?
What if they're not having that issue? That's the thing I'm always concerned about,
Well, but then you put it on them to tell you that they're not having that issue. And so I guess what I'm saying is, like, if you feel like maybe somebody's having an issue, right? Whether it be addiction, alcohol or drugs, or some type of mental health, depression, suicidal ideations or something. If you have an inkling or you have this feeling, you don't necessarily have to go up the chain first, right? You can
absolutely not. Yeah.
You can start with the chain link. You can go straight to that person and be like, hey, look, I could be totally wrong here. And I hope I am. I just noticed a change in your behavior. I noticed a change in the way you're acting. I noticed a change of what you're saying. And I'm a little bit concerned for you because I care about you. Is there anything going on? You think maybe coming at them, something like that? You think coming at them
99% of the time, you're coming at someone that's an addict, they're going to be like, they're going to curse you out. Are you kidding me? How dare you say that? Whether they are that, and chances are, if they are an addict, they're going to curse you out and be like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. But what happens if that one person goes, I can't believe anybody noticed. I can't believe anybody noticed. Yeah, I have a problem. I need help.
Yeah.
So do you think your fear of being wrong, and I say it is a fear because it is a fear. You don't want to be wrong. You think your fear of being wrong is stopping you from potentially helping somebody? I mean, you're doing it out of love and kindness. You're not doing it just to.
Absolutely.
You're not doing
it to be
it
malicious.
No,
you're not doing it. You want to help them.
Exactly. And so, do you think there's a way that you can bring that situation up by portraying that concern? Like, I want to help you. This is not me trying to bash you in any way, shape, or form. Like me, I'd rather be wrong and have them be upset with me than
be alive.
Than be right and never saying anything. And then they end up dying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you. And again, that's something I've never been through, but if I did think that, hopefully I would ask the person. Just thinking about, like, what would you do? Like, would I, like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I say, hey man, bite the fucking bullet. I say bite the bullet. Like I said, I'd rather be wrong. Me personally, I'd rather my assumption be wrong and have them be upset with me and not talk to me than my assumption to be correct. I never bring it up.
And now you have to live with yourself.
And now I have to live with myself for
not saying something.
Why didn't I just ask? Why didn't I just, hey, do you need help? Why didn't I just offer help?
Yep. You're right.
You know, how many times have we had or have you heard the story of a friend committing suicide and you're like, had I just answered that phone call? How many times have you heard that story? Had I just answered that phone call? Had I just noticed this better? Had I just said something? Maybe they would still be here.
But it is not that person's fault.
No, it's not that person's fault. I'm gonna make this 100% clear.
No,
it's not that person's fault.
What you're saying. I know that's not what you're saying. I know that's not what
I'm saying. But what I'm saying is to even avoid anything like that. If you have a suspicion, ask the person point blank. You don't have to go to their mom or dad. You don't have to go to their boss. You can go straight to them. And if they get upset with you because you're wrong, then thank God you're wrong. And who cares if they're upset with you, because they're living to be upset with you another day.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? Yeah. You're not ruining anybody's life by going straight to them and asking them. If anything, you might be pointing out a fact that nobody else has had the balls to go up to them and say, hey, I've noticed this about you. What's going on? Do you need help? I'm here for you. I had a friend that just didn't fucking call. And I didn't call him. And he ended up overdosing. My best friend in the world. You know, it was 13 years this past. Anyway, it was like, you have those things that just, had he just called me? Had I just noticed the signs? Had I just done this? Had I just done that? Did I push hard enough for him to get help? Every time I said he needed help, he'd get upset with me. Every time I tell him to stop doing something, he'd get mad at me and wouldn't talk to me. But you know what? He was still fucking alive.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'd much rather him be alive and not talking to me right now than what happened on that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
So, and that goes for anybody. Like, it goes for any one of my coworkers. If I see another firefighter on the line that something's not right, I'm going to pull him off to the side, or I'm going to give him a call and be like, hey man, I know it might be out of place. I know I might be overstepping a line. I know you might be pissed off at me for saying this, but I noticed there's a change in you. I just want to make sure everything's okay with you, man. Do you need any help? What's going on? And if they curse me out, so be it. I was wrong. Well, I'd rather be fucking wrong and then pissed off at me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you don't know, Brian. I think you do know what you would do. I think you would speak up.
It's just, I'm not going through it. You know, I
say it was your wife.
I would too. I hope I would too. You know.
Well, say it was your wife or your kid. Would you speak up to them?
Yeah.
So why not a friend or a family member?
I agree with you.
You know, it does, you know, and that's something we don't talk about a whole lot, is being the person that is not necessarily having the mental health issue, but is noticing a loved one or a partner or a coworker going through something different. Not necessarily, could be a mental health issue. We don't know, but it's a conversation we need to have about people that are being the ones to actually reach out and say, hey, is there something wrong?
Yeah.
Because there is an issue with being afraid of the repercussions of being wrong. That's a conversation we do need to have as well, because there are some of us that are afraid to speak up and ask if there's something wrong because we don't want them to be upset with us. We don't want them to be mad at us. We don't want to start a fight. We don't want to start a whole drama thing within the circle of friends or whatever the case may be. There's this idea that if we ask somebody if they're okay, that we're going to cause more issue than actually finding out if they're okay or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I know what you mean.
And it's interesting that you bring that up, because I mean, yeah, obviously if you notice your wife going through something or anything else and she's just not telling you, you're going to bring it up. Hey, I've noticed this is going on. What's up? What's going on? Do you want to talk about it? Then you need some help. Your kids, you're going to do the same thing. And, you know, if you have a partner at work, if you notice them kind of acting off and stuff, well, you need to have the same balls and say, hey, what's going on? I noticed this is different. You know, it's okay to be wrong and say something instead of being right and not saying anything.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I don't know, man. It's very mental health, man. What a fucking ball game, right?
Oh yeah.
What made you decide to come onto the show knowing that we'd be having this kind of conversation, bro?
That's why I've been putting it off for so long.
What, did it scare you?
I don't know.
Makes you a little
good time
uncomfortable.
though. I'm having a good time.
Makes you a little uncomfortable?
Yeah, a little bit.
And that's okay. You know, and that's the stigma we're trying to break, right? It's the making the uncomfortable conversation not so fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't have to be uncomfortable. Bro, if I told you to come on the show, I say, hey, you're going to come on the show. We're going to talk about all the good things in life. You'd be fucking full of fucking stories and everything going on in your life. Your kids being born, your marriage, your promotions, your convictions, you're getting the shithead off the street, you're you know, winning the fucking lottery, whatever. You're gaining 200,000K plus on followers on TikTok. I mean, fuck, man, we'd be going crazy, and it wouldn't be so hard of a conversation because we're talking about all the good things, right?
Yeah.
But those good things are a part of human life. They're part of, you know, everybody has good moments and we can talk about them and everything else, but I can guarantee you everybody has hard moments in life too. But we don't hear a lot of people talking about them.
Nope.
And why? Why? They're the same. It's the same. It's a human emotion, just like happiness, that everybody has.
Yeah.
But we can't talk about it just like happiness. Why?
Being uncomfortable.
Why is it uncomfortable? I'm asking you, why is it uncomfortable?
Because it's not a fun thing to talk about.
No.
You know, who wants to talk about depression, suicide?
You're right. It is not a. I'm gonna point out a word.
I mean, you know, I'd rather talk about fun things. I don't want to talk about suicide. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's the point I'm making.
Yeah, that's the reason.
It's that word, right? Fun.
Yeah.
It's not happy. It's sad. Nobody likes to be sad.
No.
Nobody likes to be upset. Nobody likes to have a bad time. The conversation doesn't have to be sad when you're talking about getting help. You know, there's this podcast out there. It's called The Hilarious World of Depression. That's the name of the podcast. Hilarious World of Depression. And the first question he asks, he starts every show with a little snippet of his guests, and he asks them, can depression be hilarious? And every guest will say, it can be, or no, I don't think depression's hilarious at all, or, oh, I think it's fucking hilarious, right? He's talking to a lot of comedians and actors and stuff like that. Well, I mean, a lot of comedians are depressed and they make a lot of their jokes from their depression, right? And that's the way they cope with it. That's a good coping mechanism. Dark humor is a good coping mechanism. But the fact that he called it the hilarious world of depression and lets people know that depression is a mental health issue, sadness is an emotion, does not mean you have to be identified as a depressed person. It does not mean you have to identify as a sad person. It just means those are some emotions and some mental health issues that you have to take care of. Just like having a broken arm, right, which is a physical health issue. It's not like everyone's going to be like, Brian, no, I don't know who that is. Oh, he's the guy with the broken arm, or he's the broken arm guy, and that's just who you are forever. No, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a health issue, right? Oh, you're talking about cancer kid. Oh, you're talking about, gonorrhea guy over here. Oh, you're talking about syphilis girl over there. No, you're not the health issue. You are not the health issue.
Yeah.
It's something you have and you deal with and you try to overcome, just like any other health issue. And I think with mental health that people have a hard time understanding that it's a mental health issue, just like having, diabetes or cancer or COPD. Like, it's a mental health issue that you deal with. It's not who you are. Is it a little bit more complex? Absolutely. When it comes to mental health, because not everybody can overcome that mental health issue the same way. Just, like somebody with a broken arm, a lot of people, they get it casted, splinted, whatever, and it'll end up healing. That's a common thing that people will go through when they have a broken arm. But with mental health, it's much more complex than that, and much more acute in who is dealing with that depression and how to treat it. Not everybody can be treated with depression the same way. So it's a little bit more uncomfortable to talk about. Absolutely. If I ask you if you ever broke your arm, you'd be like, oh yeah, I was this years old. I broke my arm, man. It was fucking blah, 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 this and that. But I go, hey, you ever had a mental health issue? Yeah, that's it. Silence.
Yep.
Right. Silence. But it shouldn't be that way because it is a mental health. I'm going to say that louder. Health issue. It's a health issue, not a person issue, not a who
you're right.
you are issue.
You're 100% right.
So, that's something that I had to learn the hard way. And that's why I created a nonprofit. And this is going to kind of roll us into our next subject, something a little bit lighter note. I appreciate you going through all that with me. I know I did a lot of the talking and I apologize for that. However,
that's all right.
However, it was interesting getting kind of somebody's point of view that hasn't gone through some things like that. And, it's interesting that you put yourself in a place where you say, I can't comment on that because I haven't gone through it. Right. And I respect that. Like, we always hear these people that, we call them armchair quarterbacks, where they sit on the couch watching football and they're like, oh, that stupid quarterback, he should have done that, or he should have done this and this and that. You're armchair quarterbacking right now, right? Like, you think you could do the job better. Let's put you in some pads and a helmet, put you on the field, go do the job better. Right.
Exactly.
Right. So, we always armchair quarterback these type of things. And I guess that's what I was kind of asking you to do. But you decided not to be the armchair quarterback. You're like, look, I'm not going to comment on it because I've never been through it. And that's respectable. I respect that. I respect that wholeheartedly, because that's telling me that though you understand the issue is there and that people go through it, you don't judge them, but you also don't have any significant like fix because you haven't gone through it yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't want to make any assumption as to what that fix might be. And that's respectable. I respect that. 100%, bro. I respect that.
Thank you.
So, but we're going to go into something a little bit lighter, and we're going to go into our prospective nonprofits here. You have.
I got to go to the bathroom. Take a quick break.
Okay.
Before we jump into the nonprofit.
Got you.
I was waiting for you to make the split so I could take a leak.
A
little refill too.
Yeah.
All right, baby.
We're back. All right. You good? You refilled?
Good.
Awesome. I was going to say, that brings us going into our prospective nonprofits, right? I have my nonprofit that I started with What Makes Us Fire, and you and a few others started Blue Line PD. And I'm going to go a little bit into mine real quick, just to let everybody listening know, and the Blue Line PD family that's listening to the show know. By the way, have you ever done a podcast before? I know you said you had your own podcast.
Yeah. And I've been on a podcast before as a guest also.
How long ago was that?
It was during COVID. It was a COVID podcast, actually. A guy from my town made a COVID podcast. Just to, he was doing nothing. You're at home, so he's like, "I'll kill some time. Let me do a podcast and bring guests on every week."
Oh well, there you go. That's
pretty cool
enough.
That was my first podcast.
Cool.
That's what got me into it. So,
all right then. And why'd you stop yours?
I didn't stop. We just haven't done it in a while. It's a community podcast in my town. We just talk about things going on in town, talk about things that we're doing in the community.
Oh, it's a community podcast. Okay.
Yeah, it's a community podcast. And then I'm starting a new one. We're going to be starting it probably next week. It's going to be myself, SWAT, and Boost.
Oh, fucking SWAT, that son of a bitch. I'm supposed to have him on the damn show. And he keeps saying, yeah, man, let's do it. Yeah, man, let's do it. And then nothing. And Boost lives literally like an hour away from me. Not even that fucking far. And motherfucker won't hit me back like he said he would. So, and by the way, everybody on YouTube, this bruise right here that you see.
Everybody's wondering.
Yeah, everybody's wondering. I know you probably saw it too. I was helping a friend repurpose their deck and lifting up a 4x8 piece of decking up to the second floor. I ended up passing out after like the fourth one, and they called the ambulance. And apparently I was dehydrated. Go figure. So they gave me some IV fluid and stuff. I didn't go to the hospital or anything. I'm all well and good. But yeah, that's where that bruise is. That's from the IV and everything. So just so everybody knows. Anyway, our prospective nonprofits. And by the way, when you start your podcasts, you bastards better have me on as a guest.
Absolutely, bro. You'll be on it.
I'm just saying. You guys cheated your fucking ass off when we did our little battle. Having 8 people against 2. I'm just saying.
You had how many hours to get people in there?
4.
Like 6
I
hours.
had 4 hours. 4.
Well, you decided to take a nap. That was the problem. You took a nap.
No. I was.
You woke up from your nap, and
I was in the jacuzzi.
Yeah, exactly. You took a nap in the jacuzzi. Come on.
Hey! What were you doing? You guys were all hanging out at your bar, drinking and having a good time. Yeah, exactly.
We weren't even trying to get people to come forward.
Yeah, bullcrap.
They came in. They came in.
Yeah, and then all 8 of you are all in there liking the damn live at the same time. Whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about you.
Well, you know what? During your thing, you should have challenged us. During your event, you dropped the ball on that one.
I did.
But like I said to you, though, we both made a decent amount of money during that.
Oh yeah,
that
absolutely, absolutely. For our organizations,
awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. Anyway,
that's what it's all about.
I'm gonna let bygones be bygones and cheaters be cheaters.
So he says.
Oh, speaking of which,
cheaters because we had more people than he did.
Speaking of which, by the way, our dance video had more people in it. We did way better. Just saying.
Just so you know, that was not a Blue Line PD video.
It doesn't matter. You represent Blue Line PD, and you were in it
with cops.
Oh, you were in it.
They were all cops, but it wasn't a Blue Line PD video. We'll give it Blue Line PD if you want.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
When the sun comes down on my side of town.
That lonesome feeling goes out the door. Anyway, god damn, we're stupid. Oh my god, we're fucking. I mean, you're 40, but you know, I'm 36. We're fucking middle-aged men doing TikTok videos. What?
I just want to see something. I just want to see something real quick.
No, stop.
No, I'm not going to do anything crazy. I just want to.
Well, I mean, we got to get into our.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Oh, I know you're listening, but you're supposed to also be talking.
I'm talking. I'm talking to you.
Our prospective nonprofits. Anyway, I have What Makes Us Fire. You know that we help our civil service members, be it military or first responder, get inpatient mental health help. And the way we do that is, like I said before, we make sure that finances are not a deciding factor on whether or not somebody goes and gets that help, which is something that you actually brought up that you felt like was an issue for a lot of people actually asking for help or financial issues, right?
Yeah.
Because even if they do get help, even if they do go to their department and say, hey, I need this help, you know, they're still scared about losing that overtime, losing that supplemental income that they rely on going to get that help. Well, my nonprofit makes sure that is still not a deciding factor on whether or not they go and get the help that they're looking for. So what my nonprofit does is it helps all civil service members, you know, like I said, be it military or first responder, active, retired, veteran, and our volunteers, volunteer firefighters, EMTs, police officers, and our volunteers get inpatient mental health treatment by making sure finances are not a deciding factor. And the way we do that is we make sure that all costs associated with getting that inpatient mental health help is taken care of. And when I say all costs, I don't just mean the cost of the actual treatment, right? And the reason why we even cover the cost of the actual treatment is because we don't want anybody to be limited to what their department or, you know, VA says that they can go to. If they find a place that their department doesn't cover, the VA doesn't cover, their insurance doesn't cover, but they truly feel is going to be the place that helps them, they'll go. Because we're going to cover the cost for them. Not only are we going to cover the cost for them, we're going to cover any type of supplemental financial help that they have. So if they go and they need to use sick time, well, sick time is great because you still get paid your full baseline paycheck.
You run out of sick time.
But until you run out of sick time, right? But you also don't get that overtime. Well, this is what we're going to do. You show us what you made the past 3 months with your overtime, right? We'll average it out. And we're going to supplement anything that you're not getting while you're in treatment.
That's great.
So it would still be like you are getting your overtime pay. Right? On top of that, financial assistance for your family. Right? You need help making the house payment because you're relying on that overtime. The car payment. You need groceries. Don't worry about it.
That's
What Makes
awesome.
Us Fire Nonprofit Foundation is going to make sure that your family is taken care of while you are taking care of yourself. Financial anything should not, I'm going to say it again, should not be a deciding factor on whether or not you go and make sure that you are good for you, to make sure that suicide no longer becomes an option for you. Period. End of story.
I love
so
it.
You come out a better you for you first, not for your wife, not for your kids, not for your grandma, but for you first. So you can be better for your wife, your kids, and your grandma, and the community that you serve.
I love it. It's really, it's amazing.
not only are we doing that, we're creating a peer support network that it consists of people that come from the line of work you're in. So if you're a first responder, you're going to talk to a peer supporter that is also a first responder. If you're a cop and you want to talk to another cop, you'll have that. If you're a military veteran and you want to talk to another military veteran, you're going to have that. If you're active duty military and you want to talk to another active duty military, you are going to have that. You're going to have a peer support network of people that not know what you're going through, not know how you're feeling, but can understand because they are in the same shit with you or have been through the same shit with you, right? We are also going to have a mentorship program. Now, we hear a lot of sponsors when it comes to addiction counseling and everything else. You have a sponsor, right? Somebody that you can, hey, I feel like I'm going to relapse. You give them a call. They'll be there for you no matter what. We don't hear that a lot for depressive episodes or for suicidal episodes or for, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry. Anxiety episodes. I'm sorry. Anxiety episodes. We don't hear that people have somebody that they can call no matter what. Well, we're creating a program that you will be assigned a mentor that you can call no matter what, any time of day, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You feel like you're going to have a depressive episode or you're falling into a depressive episode, you will have somebody to talk to that is specifically with you, that is your mentor, that is your coach, that is there to help you. We're building that program. Awesome. And then we also have a motivational speaking program that we are building that you will be able to talk to other very large, well-known civil service members. Let's say like Jason Patton, Pops 951. We're talking like some fairly large social media creators that are in the civil service. I'm talking about these kind of guys that are not afraid to open up about, that are not afraid to making the uncomfortable conversation not so fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So it'll be like a panel type motivational speaking program where you're going to have these large, well-known civil service members come up, tell you their story, tell you how they've either beaten or going through or their ideas on beating mental health issues or putting policies and stuff like that. Basically, they're going to be there to help you start your conversation. And all the proceeds from that motivational speaking program, so for everybody that buys a ticket to the seats, will be, that goes to the nonprofit. At the same time, at the end of those things, it'll be like an open panel Q&A where anybody can walk up to the mic, ask a question of anybody or to the whole panel and everything else. And the whole idea is to have people start the conversation and to kill the stigma of making that uncomfortable conversation uncomfortable. So we have those three programs on top of the actual main mission of the nonprofit that we have going on. Those three other ones, the peer support, the mentor, and the motivational, those are still in the building processes. We are still a new nonprofit, but they are in the building processes. And we have our 501c3. We are a national recognized nonprofit. We are also a state nonprofit here in Texas. But we are a national nonprofit, i.e., if you live in New York and you find a mental health facility in New York that you feel like is going to help you, you apply for the grant with the nonprofit. We talk to you, we vet you. I hate that we have to vet people, but there are some shitty people out there that will say they need help. Just take the money and run. So we will vet them. We will vet the facility together.
That's why you never give money. You write the check right to the facility.
And that's what we're going to be doing. And so we have to do a whole vetting process and everything else. We let everybody know exactly where we stand, but they will be taken care of. If you're a civil service member,
that's awesome,
military or first responder, you will be taken care of. And that's what we got going on top of here on the podcast. Now the podcast, my lawyer, when I set up the nonprofit, asked me, do you want the podcast tied to the nonprofit? And the reason why he asked me, he said, if the podcast starts bringing in any revenue, you can keep that for yourself.
Yeah.
And he goes, but if you tie it to the nonprofit, any type of sponsorship or anything like that you're getting is actually not sponsorship. It's donations to the nonprofit, and you don't see a cent. And I said, nonprofit goes direct to the nonprofit. If the podcast is tied to the nonprofit and I need to spend money on the podcast, it's an operating cost of the nonprofit. So either way, it's still helping the podcast grow. I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything personally. Like, none of that money is going to my personal account, but it goes to like helping getting better equipment. It helps to going and seeing, potential guests on the show, stuff like that. That all helps the nonprofit grow because I have you, Detective Diddy, on the show who has 200 plus K, family members on his social media. That helps the nonprofit grow.
Absolutely.
Right? That's marketing. Yeah. We'll call it what it is. It's marketing. It's getting the message out there.
Yeah.
So that all that kind of money that's spent is considered marketing for the nonprofit, which to the federal government is considered a legit expense for the nonprofit, because you have to you have to spend money to raise money. I know it sounds stupid, but it actually costs money to put a fundraiser on.
It does.
Costs money.
People don't understand that, you know?
No, they don't understand that. Like, I think the rate that the average rate for every 20 cents you spend, you want to try to make $1. That's a good fundraiser, right? So for every 20 cents you spend, you want to make $1. So you want to gain at least 80 cents for every 20 cents you spend. So that, that if you're trying to make 10,000, put it in perspective. Trying to make $100, right? I got to spend $20 to make $100.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. Well, if I'm trying to raise $10,000, that means I got to spend $2,000 to raise $10,000. Right. So, and that's for fundraising. That's for all that stuff. And that's like a normal, I hit the mic. I'm sorry. That's like an average. That should be your goal. Well, that costs money, and if you spend that $2,000 and you only raise $7,000, the venue ain't free. No. And you only raise $7,000. Okay. Well, technically you only raised $5,000 because you have to put back the $2,000 you spent for the fundraiser. So yeah, we're a baby nonprofit. Yes. I've done a lot of research on how a nonprofit should be run. I did not know a nonprofit ran like a business. I thought you were just a middleman.
It is a business.
Right. I didn't know that. I was completely ignorant to that fact. I didn't take any business classes for credits like you did. Like I just, no shit.
All right.
I know I should have, but like it was, I didn't know. And so it's been a huge learning curve for me, but we got our 501c3 now, and now it's, we got to start hitting it hard, man. Come January is when is going to be our year of being an incorporation and nonprofit. So
that's awesome, bro. Congrats.
Thank you. The thing is that our first year has been nothing but fundraising. It's
got to be though.
Right. And the thing is that our first year, I wanted us to help somebody, at least one person. The thing is we did some
go bankrupt, so you got to raise some money to be able to help people.
Well, that's the thing. We did some rough math, and say we took the worst case scenario, right? So in other words, we took a volunteer that's volunteering for the department, right? That doesn't offer any mental health, that doesn't have any insurance, and that would have to leave work, right? Without workman's comp, just straight sick time and everything else.
Yeah.
Considering they go to a mental health treatment facility, inpatient, they go for the estimated longest mental health treatment, which is averages to about 2 months. So they'd be in that facility for about 2 months, averaging 2 months of income and supplemental finances, averaging, mortgage payments, everything. We averaged all this stuff out. It's going to cost anywhere between $10,000 to $25,000, $10,000 to $25,000 to send one individual to inpatient mental health facility to pay for that facility treatment and to help the family. $10,000 to $25,000 per individual. That's worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. So that's like, fuck, we got a lot of work to do.
Oh, yeah.
And we're doing all of this while I'm still working at the fire department, while I'm still dealing with my own mental health issues. Everybody that's on the board is doing it on their free time.
Yep.
All volunteer. Nobody's getting compensated in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah. Do I want to get to like wounded warrior status? Fuck yeah, I want to get to United Way status. Fuck yeah, I want to get to United Way status. If I can retire early from the fire department and do the nonprofit solely as the, I do the podcast and the nonprofit as the sole source that I work for the nonprofit. Yes, I am the CEO and founder. Yes. However, everybody listening, I cannot pay myself as the CEO or founder of a nonprofit. That is illegal, by the way. You can't pay yourself as the CEO of a nonprofit. What you can do is pay yourself as a manager, as an advisor, whatever, as somebody that works for the nonprofit. Yep. Right? So it's weird how all that stuff works. But if I can at least make as much as I'm making at the fire department with the nonprofit, then at that point, I would retire early from the fire department and work solely for the nonprofit. That way I would consider myself still in the civil service, in that I am helping my civil service brothers and sisters stay alive so they can continue helping their communities.
Yeah, man.
So
absolutely.
That's what the nonprofit is from my end. Now that I'm all done with that, Blue Line PD.
Well, before we go to Blue Line PD, I want to link you up with someone I know, a friend of mine, Eric. So, a long time ago, probably 5-6 years ago, we have a big heroin issue in Oceanside, in my town, and kids are dying left and right. They were. So we started up a page, Oceanside's Stop Drugs and Crime. And I think we're at like 7,000 people in there now. And the main thing was to get people help. If someone had an issue with heroin or drugs or whatever it is, give us a ring, send us a message, and we're going to link you up with someone that's going to help get you or your family member into a rehab. So we linked up with a guy named Eric. His story, it's crazy. I mean, this guy was hooked into heroin. He was doing gunpoint home invasions and became sober and did a complete 180 and is now, he works full time. I don't think he's taking money out of his nonprofit, but he's working full time for that nonprofit as well. And if someone calls him up, he's going to get you into a rehab program. If you can't afford it, he's going to get you in there. And he knows the system to get you into a rehab covered by insurance, which is, I'd like to link you up so you could talk with him. And, he'll show you the ropes on getting people in through insurance and good programs too, good places. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. That would be amazing.
Well, that's more important than spending $25,000 out of your foundation when someone has insurance.
Well, that's the thing. But that's worst case scenario.
But
that was worst case scenario.
But there's people that don't know how to how to work the system to get someone into a program. There's Liam right there.
Right. Hey, there he is.
He's going to bed. So I want to link you up with him so you can talk with him because he's a real good guy, and let him talk to you. And he's doing the same thing you're doing right now.
He's doing it.
But
so we're
he's doing drugs, but it's the same. It's the same thing.
Well, here's the thing. Addiction's a mental health issue.
Yeah,
it is. It's a mental health issue. It's
a similar thing, but it's different. But I think he could teach. You know what I mean? To get it covered by insurance. Because you're going to get someone to a mental health facility to it's same exact thing.
I get it. No, it is. So a inpatient mental health facility is technically a rehab facility.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily rehabbing a addiction crisis, but addiction is a mental health issue.
Yeah.
You could rehab.
Very similar.
You could be rehabbing a depression, anxiety, a PTSD. You could be rehabbing schizophrenia. Like, all these things are things that, believe it or not, you can fix with, therapy and, yes, some mental health medicine, or, a lot of people don't like to call it medicine. They call it drugs. Yeah. Look, I am on mental health medication. All right. I'm not afraid to admit it. I call them my do not kill yourself pills. It's my depression medication.
Yeah.
I call it my do not kill yourself pills. That's, it's dark humor. I get it. It is dark humor. Okay. But when I pull out my pills and somebody sees me take them, I'm like, oh, this right here, this one's my, my do not kill yourself pill. And then I pull out my ADH, and this is my don't hyper focus on killing yourself pill. Yeah. I try to make light of it, but look, it's mental health medication, and it helps me with my therapy, with my psychiatry appointments, with talking about it openly with you and with other guests on the podcast, and with sharing my story on social media. Like, all those things help. Those are my therapies to help me rewire my brain. To not think about the things I used to think about all the time. And not to feel the things I used to feel all the time. So all those things help. But I would love to talk to this guy, Eric. Because if he has the ways to work the loopholes to help other civil service members, fuck yeah, I'll take any and all help that I can get. And if he's even if maybe we don't necessarily use that, if I have a civil service member that might be battling addiction that doesn't fall into the guidelines of the nonprofit that we have, because we are going to have a set guidelines. We have to vet them, right? But maybe necessarily don't fall into the guidelines. What Makes Us Fire might not be able to help you directly with this, but I know somebody who can.
Absolutely.
Right? So the more people I have like that can be tied to the nonprofit, like, hey man, we can't help you, but let me call Eric real quick. I know he can. He'll get you where you need to go.
You could even put that on there. If there's any civil servants with a drug addiction, an alcohol addiction, let me know. We can help. We can refer you to the right person.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And that's something I got to talk to with him, but I'm sure he would.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It sounds like he would totally be okay with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, for sure. Let's link up. For sure. I appreciate that. I appreciate that as well.
I'm sure it's a similar thing.
Oh yeah. I'm sure.
You know what I mean? For the insurance purposes.
Insurance is a stupid thing. Like, we pay copay. We pay what? We pay. Not only do we pay co-payments for every time we have an appointment, we have a copay for any large medical health issue that we have. But we pay the premium every month or every paycheck. So it's like, okay, you're getting $400 every month from me. You're getting $50 every time I go to the doctor's appointment. And you're getting up to $2,000 every time I need to have a major health issue taken care of. Well, I spent 3 years just paying the premium. You have $12,000 of my money that I didn't use.
Yep.
And now you're making me pay $2,000 just so you cover the major thing?
Yep.
Why don't you take that $12,000 and apply it to that? I don't know.
Exactly.
I just listened to a podcast with Joe Rogan today, and they were talking about that. Like, insurance is so, man, it's fucked. Like, we pay you a premium, and what insurance companies do is they rely on the fact that you're not going to use them, right? So you're paying the premium. You can pay it for 5 years and never use your insurance. maybe for a copay for a health checkup every now and then. But once the major shit happens, all right, not only are you going to pay your premium every month, we also need an extra $2,000 before we start covering this major thing that you need to take care of. What? I just paid 5 years and never used you guys.
Exactly. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Right.
What a scam.
What a scam. But whatever. It is what it is. I get it. I get 5 years of premium payment can equal one major thing like cancer or something else. I mean, that can be $12 to $25 to $100,000 just to treat cancer. And so I get it, but still, that's like, how many people do you have in your company or that are paying premiums into your company that aren't using your insurance? You can fucking cover it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Not everybody's going to get cancer at the same time, motherfuckers.
Listen, they are insurance companies to make money.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? They're not making money if they're doing that.
No, I get it. Anyway, so yeah, link me up with Eric. But
I'm gonna link you up with him 100%.
Yeah, please do. Let's go into your shit though, man.
Yeah,
Blue
man.
Line PD.
So Blue Line PD.
Yeah, bro. So here's the thing with Blue Line PD. I heard about you guys through another social media person that is no longer with Blue Line PD. I don't need to know the whole rigmarole of what the fuck happened. That's between y'all. But it was Southern Girl Leo, and she.
So you throw a name out there.
Fuck yeah, I'm gonna throw her name out there. I throw her name out there. Yeah, I mean, she's the one that introduced me to you guys, so I have to give her credit for actually introducing me to Blue Line PD. Well, we
definitely knew each other before Blue Line PD started.
We did know each other, but I did know that you guys were working on something. You told me that you were working on something.
Yeah.
So you didn't tell me what it was exactly, but you said you were working on something because you said you had a nonprofit before and that you're working on a new one, but you didn't have all the shit worked out.
Well, we still don't have the nonprofit yet, but we're working on it.
Well, you have Blue Line PD though. You just don't have the 501
right now. Yeah, we don't have a.
You don't have the 501c3. But so okay, you might not be a nonprofit. You guys are. Let's call you guys a crowdfund.
Okay, well, let's start from the beginning. So, I got on TikTok in March of 2020. When COVID started.
So here's that's something I was going to ask you. What the fuck moves a 39, 40-year-old man to get on TikTok?
I don't know, bro. So the question, that is the question of the decade. So I always thought, TikTok's like 13-year-old girls dancing, right? So COVID happened. Everybody's home. I'm still working, obviously. Mm-hmm. Everyone's home. There's nothing to do. You can't go to bars. You can't go to restaurants. You can't do anything. It's like, check out TikTok. There's some funny videos in there. So, you start up an account and start swiping and you're like, oh my God, this is great. You swiping through. Oh shoot, there's a cop right there. I'm gonna follow him. Boom. The next thing you know, it's like now you're on the police side of TikTok, and every video that you're swiping through is law enforcement. And it's like, what the hell's going on here? It's not 13-year-old girls. There's cops on here. There's firemen on here. I don't know which way you are, but you're over here somewhere. One of these boxes. There's firemen on here. What's going on here? And I'm like, yo, this is pretty cool. Then you start making videos, and I started making videos with my 7-year-old. He was 6 at the time, 5.5, whatever. We're doing stupid videos, and next thing you know, I'm friends with like cops everywhere. And it's like, yo, this is cool. And let me tell you, I've met so many good people on that app. Like I said, the two of us right now, we're talking like we've known each other for 20 years, and we jumped on. This is the first time. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
Normally, you jump on it, I'd be nervous. Like, who is this guy? Like, it's like we've known each other for 20 years, and we're jiving right away.
Absolutely. I do got to say though, I think the fact that we're both in the civil service realm actually helps too.
Yeah.
Like I've had this theory. You can put 500 different civil service members from across the country, from across the world, put them all in the same room. None of them know each other. It would literally take about, I don't know, 5 seconds for conversation to start happening and people to start laughing, jokes. in 2 minutes, you won't be able to hear your own voice because everybody's talking.
You're right.
Right?
Which
Because we have this similarity. We have this commonality.
And I mean, we had the meetup here in New York in July, and it wasn't a big one. There was about 30 people, but it was like we all knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we've hung out a bunch of times after that. I've made so many amazing friends through that app. But Nashville last week, I go there and it's like people come up to me. They're like, "Diddy," I'm like, "What was this?"
Mm-hmm.
And there's people that have been following me forever, and I'm like, "Oh, let me follow you back." And now I'm jumping in their lives. It's like it's hard because people are following you. It's hard to keep track of every single person that follows you. You know what I mean?
Well, no,
you know the ones that come in every day, and those ones you got to pick up immediately, and you got to follow them back.
Right. Well, it's hard to keep. I mean, you can follow up to 10,000 people.
That's a lot of. Even if you follow 10,000, it's easier.
People.
It's easier to have a lower number and be able to check in with the people you know. You have 10,000. You follow 10,000 people. You're not going to be able to figure out who's who. There's going to be 300 people live at once on a Friday night, maybe more. There might be 1,000 people live. How are you going to make it into everyone's lives? And that's always my thing. I'm like, if you're chill, you talk to me, you're friends with me, you come in my lives all the time, I'm going to follow you back 100%. Right. But, I'm not just going to follow every single person. It's absolutely impossible anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Follow every person back. You can't.
No.
10,000 is the max.
I mean, well, especially with somebody with your social media influence. I'm gonna, Brian, bro. Since we're talking about social media, well, I'm gonna start calling you by your social media name, Detective Diddy. Dude, you're a social media influencer. Just let that sink in for a minute.
And you know what? You would never thought the day that I would log on and be like, what the hell's going on? How is there 275,000 people following me?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody watches my videos, but I had 275,000 people following me.
Nobody's watching my videos.
I don't know how this algorithm works because there should be more people. It's not even going on the friends follow page. Nobody's looking at my. Let me tell you, when I was in Nashville, it was amazing to see how many people you knew and how many people knew me. I was like, what's going on? This is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But I would have never saw that. People in my office are like, they find my TikTok and they're like, what the hell is going on here? I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Just being a first responder, a police officer, a firefighter, people want to hear you. They want to hear what's going on. They want to know what you do. Everybody loves first responders. They love firemen more than police, obviously. Firemen are the real heroes. Oh, come on.
No. I'll debate with you on that. I think that what happens is we don't get the publicity when people fight back towards fire the same way the publicity is shown when people fight back towards the police. We don't get the coverage.
When are they protesting against the fire department? When are they throwing rocks at the fire department?
Okay.
When are they
I'll tell you when.
The fire department?
I'll tell you when.
I want to hear this.
When they were rioting and burning down buildings, how many fire trucks are stopped and rocks being thrown at them and being stopped from doing their job? How many times when EMTs went to go help somebody or trying to go help somebody, they were blocked and stopped from going and actually trying to do their job?
I've rarely seen that. I'm going to be honest with you. I've rarely seen that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. I've rarely seen it. And I've seen and heard firefighters and EMTs get shot, mm-hmm. which is horrible stuff thrown at them, but it rarely happens.
I don't think it rarely happens. I just don't think it gets the same coverage.
Oh, that's going to get more coverage. Absolutely.
I disagree with you. The reason why police get more coverage is because they are in a position of authority. Firefighters are not in a position of authority, so we're not going to get the coverage police officers are going to get. We don't have authority, right? We can't arrest
We also
anybody.
don't have ladders, to get cats out of trees, things like that. You know what I mean?
Right. You don't have a lot of things that we have that you guys have to call us to come help you with.
Listen, we have the Ninja Turtles, man. We have ESU, we have the SWAT team. The Ninja Turtles come down, they take care of anything that the fire department.
Well, hey, you know what? Call your fucking SWAT team to get the cat.
No, let me tell you, I can't tell you how many times I've called FD. FD's getting called first.
Oh, of course, because you don't want
because they're gonna be there in seconds.
Right. You don't want to take the drunk person to jail. You'd rather call the fire department, EMS department, because you don't want to do the fucking paperwork. No, we got it.
It's probably gonna take 15 minutes for ESU or the SWAT team to get there to cut someone out of a car. You got to call FD and get that person that's pinned in a car out of the car.
Yeah, because we know how to do it.
Before the car explodes.
Yeah, we know how to do it a lot faster.
I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know about that. Listen.
That's because that's what we do. No, fire. I'm going to put this out there, and you made a good point. The fire department doesn't just fight fire. Yes. Have we been called to get a cat out of a tree? Motherfucker, yes, I have been called to get a cat out of a tree.
He admits
I have. No, I have. I admit it. We get called to get cats out of a tree.
Admit that 6-course meal too, please.
Hey, hold on. No, we don't have the 6-course meal.
That's a lie. 5 course.
No.
Sorry.
No. Literally, we have to, like you, when you stop to get something to eat, we don't have a designated lunch hour where, we're off the clock or whatever. You have
18 hours of lunch hour. Come on.
Just like you. No. Just like you, right? So, but in that 18 hours, we can get called at any second, just like you. So we eat fast, we shower fast, and you say sleep. You tried trying to sleep when the radio for the whole city is going off. You trying to sleep, worried,
sleep deprived now.
You tried, I'm telling you, you trying to sleep, constantly wondering when that tone's going to go off. That's not sleep, man. That's not sleep. That's the equivalent to you sitting on your car and watching TikTok. All right.
I don't sit in my car and watch TikTok.
Okay, whatever. You sit in your fucking office desk and watch TikTok. Whatever.
No, let me tell you.
Or sitting.
I work my ass off every day. You have no clue. I'm not even joking with you, but
no. So do we. So do we. I mean, if we're not, if we're not actually on a call, we're training. We're cleaning the station, cleaning the trucks.
Toilets. How are the toilets? Are they clean?
Yeah. The firehouse is a public facility. It's a public facility. Yeah, it's our firehouse, but anybody can come at any time. It's a public facility. It's just like City Hall. Right? So we got to keep it clean, spotless. We got to make sure that all the equipment's working. If it's not working, we got to fix it ourselves. Right? We're training. When we go on a call for electricity, for plumbing, for putting out fires, cats in trees, car wrecks, sick people. I mean, we don't just fight fire. We don't just fight
the civilians out there. He's way hyping himself up better than they are.
He's not
way hyping himself. He's a plumber.
No, that's exactly what it is.
So they're getting called to plumbing jobs. They're plunging toilets.
No, I'm dead serious. Yo, we are. I'm dead fucking serious, bro. Like, I'm not even lying with you. Like, somebody could have a leak in their house and water everywhere, and they're concerned about it leaking and hitting electricity shit. So we got to go find the water shut off the water, take a shop vac or something, or a squeegee, clean out all the water to make sure it doesn't cause a fire hazard. God bless our
plumbers. God bless them.
I mean, we're plumbers, we're electricians, we're AC men.
That's what they do on their second job.
Hey, do you guys get called to help somebody up off their floor to put them maybe in their chair?
We do. Come on now. Are you crazy? We don't get called to?
No, you do, but then you call the fire department to do it, to help you.
To help us. Yeah,
right.
I can't lift a 400 person up myself, you know?
Yeah, but we can.
Yeah, because you got like equipment. You got like hoisting systems.
No. It's because we have workout equipment at the station and we get to work.
Yeah, because they work out. They have 5-course meals. They slide down poles all day. Look sexy, you know.
All right.
They have calendars.
Whatever. All right, we got off track. Anyway, you got this. You started to get this huge following, and I'm only stopping it because I don't want to make you look bad.
Okay. So back to the Blue Line PD.
Yeah. So you started noticing this huge following. You started noticing this support for what you do. When did the idea of Blue Line PD start sprouting from all this?
So there was three of us, myself, Garrett, and Boost Me Up PD. Mm-hmm. We decided let's start up our own group and let's help police officers that are in need. That's where it really started, and to help police officers and humanize the badge, the word he hates.
Yeah,
it's something
I don't like it.
You know what? It's something that needs to be done. You know, a lot of people hate the police. Let me tell you, we've changed a lot of people's minds. You know, with the stuff they say, it's all about staying positive. You're going to be negative. You're going to fight with these people. It's never a win, you know? So the three of us started this group up, Blue Line PD right here, you know, sexy logo. We started it up, and we had about 10 people to start, all law enforcement officers from across the country. I think it started, I think it was 10 of us, 7 different states to start. I think we're up to 19 law enforcement officers from, I think, 10 or 11 states now.
Yeah, I had Sir Lancelot on the podcast.
Sir Lancelot, he is a great dude. He's funny as hell. He's amazing. If you guys don't follow Sir Lancelot,
and go listen to his podcast as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the
awesome.
WhatMakesUsFire podcast as well. Yeah, no, he is an amazing guy. Amazing guy.
I'm glad we found him. Like he's awesome.
So what exactly is the mission for Blue Line PD?
So the initial mission was, you know, we're going to help police officers in need. So the first fundraiser we did was to help a police officer that did not have a bullet resistant vest. And we watched this officer. I don't want to say we watched it. We've heard of this officer going out, doing a car stop, and pulling the person out of a car, pulling a handgun off the person, and pulling a loaded handgun and a loaded AK-47 out of the car. And this police officer was not wearing a vest. They never had a vest. Their police department did not provide it for him. And that day, we said, "That's it. We're getting her a vest."
That's weird. So I thought that was like standard police issue equipment.
That's what you think. But, you know, talking to police officers from across the country, a lot of this equipment is not standard issued, and you have to pay for most of it yourself. And
really?
Let me tell you, yeah, being up here in New York on the East Coast, I mean, all the law enforcement departments up here, you're fully covered. You're getting everything that pays well. And you go down south, there's cops getting paid part-time. They're making $12 an hour, and they're holding it down for your town. You have a person getting paid $12 an hour. That's protecting your community, which is a disgrace. And then to get paid $12 an hour on top of it, not have a bullet resistant vest, that's not right. So what we did was we said, we're going to do a fundraiser and let's get this officer a vest. And we did a fundraiser and we raised way over the amount for one vest. So we said, what else are we going to do? And that was at the time where K9 Arlo got shot.
I also had K9 Arlo on the podcast.
Yeah, he's an amazing person. He really is.
Yes, he is. Go listen to his podcast, man. His story.
I didn't even know he had a podcast.
No, he was on my show.
Oh, your podcast. Listen to your podcast. Yeah.
He was on my show, and man, his story is pretty fucking phenomenal.
It is. So we reached out to his handler, to Arlo's handler, and like, yo, we're gonna do a fun. We have enough money right now to get a vest for a K9. He wants to get Arlo a K9, a vest, and he goes, no, we're good. So we he's like, Arlo's good. Arlo's gonna have a vest if he ever comes back, which I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. You know, he was so severely hurt in that shooting. I didn't think that dog was gonna ever come back, which he didn't. So we started doing a little research. We found a law enforcement officer that we're very good friends with. His handle on there is K9 DJ K9 Hundo. So K9 Hundo did not have a vest, and neither did the other dog that was in his police department.
Mhm.
So we said, all right, so we're going to raise money for both of them. Hundo, DJ raised enough money to get the K9 unit through TikTok. You got the 2 K9s fully trained, equipment, car, everything. They got everything raised through TikTok, which was amazing. So we raised enough to get Hundo and I can't think of the other dog's name. The partner's dog. We got them both bullet resistant vests, and that's where we started. We also had a police officer. I don't want to say his name on here. Very, very large TikToker. His house burned to the ground, and we did a fundraiser. I think we raised over 10,000 for him between yeah, we did 3 or 4 fundraisers between a bunch of us. We did separate fundraisers, and we pushed all the money to them, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll continue to do that, but we're in the process of getting the 501c3 and doing everything legit. It's you hear of a cop that gets killed in the line of duty. You want to help their family. You do a fundraiser. You send the money to their family. We've done that a million times, but you want to try and do things by the book. And when people are making donations, they're tax deductible at that point. So that's
right.
where we're going now. We're in the process of doing that.
Yeah. So right now, any donation is not necessarily tax deductible, but it says something about people that are making that donation knowing that they're not getting anything back in return.
Oh yeah, and they know that.
They know that, and because you're completely transparent with that. So it sounds like right now you guys are more of a crowdfunding type of.
We haven't done too many fundraisers since. We're trying to hold off until we get the 501c3. But if something comes across, we're gonna help. We're gonna help someone. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, no, I get it. Well, and that's the thing. You can be a crowdfunding organization without having your 501c3.
Yeah, no, I know.
That's the thing. And it sounds like right now that's kind of like where your status is. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. There's you're completely transparent with everybody that's making that donation, letting them know, hey, it's not a tax deductible donation, but it is going to this thing. It's more of a crowdfunding thing. People do crowdfunding things all the time. That's what GoFundMe is. GoFundMe is a crowdfunding source, right? And what people don't, that's what it is. It's a crowdfunding website. And what you guys are doing is you guys are being a crowdfunding for specific purposes, i.e. civil service members, specifically police officers. And that's awesome. And as soon as you guys get your 501c3, now people who are making those donations, they would have made them anyway, but now they can get a little bit something back in return as a tax write-off and stuff like that.
And it'll be easy to raise money once you have a 501c3. Once we have that, our main goal is we're talking about getting trauma kits and donating trauma kits to departments that need. There's departments all over this country that it could take a half hour for an EMT or a paramedic to get to a cop that's shot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a problem. And they don't have trauma kits. Their partner doesn't have a trauma kit. Like, what's going to happen? The cop's going to bleed out and die. And that's the last thing we want. So once we have that 501c3, we're going to raise some money. We're going to get trauma kits that can loop right onto your belt. Active shooter kits where there's two what are they called? Two tourniquets. God forbid you get hurt, you take care of yourself first, and then you take care of your partner that's on the floor. So I mean, that's gonna be amazing once we get the ball rolling with that.
Hell yeah, man. That's an awesome thing, man. That I was completely unaware that, something as that you would think is very common for police officers to wear, which is a bulletproof vest.
And you know the cop that we got the vest for. So I mean, you know the cop.
Huh. Oh, was it Sir Lancelot?
No.
It wasn't Sir Lancelot.
We'll talk when this is over.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna start spitting names like you did before, right?
Hey, well, I was spitting names because they were on the podcast. Okay. It's not like they were getting anything.
Past gas.
Yeah, they were just past gas. Asshole.
Past gas. She passed gas on your podcast
all the time.
All right.
You just don't hear it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's such an amazing organization. We have some real big creators on there now too.
Man,
That's awesome. I think that. Well, so where can people go to make a donation or anything like that, or how?
We're not taking donations right now. You know, if there's a fundraiser, we'll take the donation. Everything goes immediately. Everything's documented. You know, you know the way people are on this app. There's accusations made all the time. So I mean, if we're gonna raise money, it's gonna be raised through one of the apps, PayPal, whatever. Everything that's donated is documented, and everything that's donated goes right to the either for equipment or to the cop that needs it. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I'm gonna be shameless here and ask Blue Line PD for the help. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that.
He's asking. What do we got, baby? What do we got?
I'm asking the police to help What Makes Us Fire. All right. Well, you know, we're a new nonprofit. We need the help. So if you can convince Blue Line PD to host a fundraiser for What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation, knowing that we don't just help firefighters, we help military personnel, firefighters, police, EMTs, dispatchers, anybody that's considered a first responder or in the civil service realm, get that inpatient mental health treatment. We are looking for help.
All right.
We need help.
Let me talk to the boys and girls and let's make something happen.
Man, you would have no idea how much we would appreciate it. We are hurting right now.
Well, just hearing those numbers, man, you better start raising millions. You know what I mean?
Shit. Seriously, that's what it is. We have to get to at least a 5 million every year nonprofit status to help at least 10 people a year.
You're right.
Right? Like, that's just to help like at least 10 people a year. That doesn't include you know, operating costs and all that other stuff. That's just to help our civil service family.
Yeah. Yep.
And that it's ridiculous. I took on something and I started something without necessarily knowing what I started, but people are really attaching themselves to it. That's a good cause. The finances should not be a deciding factor on whether or not somebody who is risking their lives to protect them goes and gets the help to make sure that they, you know, feel worthy.
Yeah.
For themselves.
Yep.
So we're hurting and we need the help. It's as simple as that. We need the help.
Yeah. And
so I will ask anybody and everybody that I can. So yeah, I'm calling PD in to clear the scene.
Let's do it, baby.
I am asking Blue Line PD to come in and clear the scene. And I and the What Makes Us Fire family would have greatly appreciate the Blue Line PD family teaming up together and doing some type of fundraiser together. And
let's do it, man. Let's talk and let's figure something out.
Man, I would be so fucking grateful. You have no idea.
Let's do it, baby.
You have no idea. Hell yeah. Let's do it then.
Yeah.
I do want to, so right now, Blue Line PD is not taking, you guys don't have like a website or anything like that, but I see a whole bunch of y'all wearing merch.
We got merch. It's on our, on the Blue Line PD page, BlueLine_PD on TikTok. You check the link in the bio. You have our merch there.
Do you know
we're not making, we are not making, I don't know the link. And we're not making a dime off of any of it. Everything's at cost right now. It's been like that. We just want to get the merch out there. We want people wearing it.
Hell yeah. Well, then I need to go get a Blue Line PD sweatshirt or something. It's getting it's not getting chilly down here. I think the low so far has been like 65.
Yeah,
so
you're good.
Yeah.
No, you know, a hoodie's nice. 65 is hoodie weather.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's good.
It's muggy hood. It's muggy 65 though. It's not like that cold, chilly 65. Like, yeah. You know?
No. It's very muggy. It's nasty. But yeah. All right, cool. So go check out BlueLine_PD on TikTok. There you can find the link to check out some of their merch. I like their shield with the Blue Line PD across it.
This is hot though.
Yeah,
our logo guy is off the hook. He's the best.
Yeah, it's badass. And the fact that you guys are even considering helping the What Makes Us Fire Foundation, knowing that a firefighter founded it, but also knowing that we're not just helping firefighters, we're helping all civil service members, man, is huge, and I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to start winding this down, but before I do, I want to say
got a couple shout outs though. Before you wind anything down.
Oh, no.
We got a couple events and things we got to talk about.
I'm going to let you do your plug, bro. I'm going to let you do your plug. But I mean, just like a fucking police officer's always got to jump in before he knows the shit that's going on.
I can't have him shut this thing down. You know what I'm saying?
No,
we still got more to talk about here.
No. We got a lot to talk about. Bro, I'm going to give you the chance, man. Relax. Calm down. It's okay. You good?
I'm good, bro.
Okay. I just wanted to say thank you, man. I wanted to say thank you for coming on the show. I know I did a lot of talking, and I know I kind of put you in and asked you some uncomfortable conversations, but the fact that you allowed it to happen and that you didn't squirm away and that you were honest with your answers and saying you didn't know and not trying to bullshit me or anybody else for that matter is huge. This is something about your character. It's just something about who you are. And I want to say thank you for that. You know,
I appreciate you for having me on here, man. It was an honor. It was.
Well, the thing is that, you know, when I ask some of these questions, and I've had guests in the past that they don't bullshit through the answer, you know, and you can hear it. And, you know,
what does that do for anybody? What does bullshitting through the answer do? Especially mental health questions.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, you know, you don't know. And it's okay to not know. And that's sometimes you won't know. And sometimes you have to go through it to understand what's going on. And you realize that about yourself, and that says something about you, that you're not going to try to speak on something that you don't know about. And that's respectable, right? Yeah.
Yep.
You're right. You don't try to bullshit through something. You're like, hey, I don't know about it, so I don't really want to say nothing. And that's, I wish more people were like that instead of trying to bullshit through something because they feel like they have to say something, or because they have an opinion that may or may not be right. And it's an opinion, but they talk about it like it's fact. And it's like, come on, man. Like, if you don't know, you don't know. And it's okay to admit that you don't know. Like, I'd rather have somebody tell me that they failed or don't know than try to bullshit their way through something and fuck everything up. Right?
Exactly.
Like, just be honest. That's all you gotta do. Just be honest. And you were. And I gotta say thank you for that. This is the time now that I'll let you do all your plugs. But after your plugs, man, I have about 3 more questions for you that we're gonna kind of go through. So go ahead, do your plugs. This is Brian, better known as Detective Diddy on TikTok. Y'all check him out. Detective Diddy, and then some numbers. I forgot the numbers. Yeah, but
it's just Detective_Diddy, baby.
That's it. I thought there was
no
some
numbers. Oh, I'm the one and only, baby. We don't need numbers after my name. There's only one of me.
Oh shit. Okay, never mind. Detective_Diddy on TikTok, everybody. That's what he's better known as on his social media. You can go check him out. But yeah, man, go for it.
Pick me up. Let's go. I'll get you back.
There you go.
Hello. Just let me know who you are. I got you. So, I got 2 things, two quick announcements. So I was talking before, we got a Long Island meetup. It's we didn't get to talk about this. This guy skipped right over that, but I have a special needs son. His name is Liam. He's 5 years old. He's in a wheelchair. He's not walking, talking, sitting. You know, he's very behind. We're working on that though. We're gonna get him there. But he's such a happy kid. That's all that matters. So myself and GG Unbreakable. I gotta look at it. GG_Unbreakable BT. We're going to be throwing a charity event. She also has a child with special needs as well, Brooke. She's another amazing child. She's so happy. She's 2.5 years old. So the 2 of us are coming together. We're throwing together this event. It's called Tiny Talk event. The Tiny Talk event on Long Island. So it's going to be January 28th to the 30th. So it's going to be up this week. I don't know when you're going to post this, but it's going to be up ASAP. So check the Tiny Talk _events. Let me just make sure. I can't give the wrong name, right?
No, you can't.
I think it's Tiny Talk _ event.
So what, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, with your son, what was he diagnosed with?
So he has a rare syndrome called ATRX syndrome. Only 500 kids in the world have been diagnosed with it. So, or 500 people in the world have been diagnosed with it. So it's extremely rare. They don't have much information on it, but basically it affects. He's got microcephaly. He's got a small head. So obviously that affects brain functionality. He's got low muscle tone, so that's why he's not sitting, walking, talking. So he's going through a lot of physical therapy. Every kind of therapy there is, he's going through right now. He goes to a specialized school, which is amazing. They're great with him there. They're working on ways for him to be able to communicate with us. So he's not communicating at all, but we'll get there. Yeah, he's a good kid. There's 500 people in the world that are diagnosed with it. I met another mother on TikTok whose son has the same thing, which is amazing. That's why this app is so amazing. Check out my video. It's me dancing with Liam, and this mother is dancing with her son, which is awesome. Check it out.
Can I ask a personal question about that?
Yeah.
How when you found out about this with your son, how did that affect the family life?
So again, we didn't get to talk about this, and I wish we did.
No, we can talk about it right now.
Yeah, talking about mental health. When Liam was born, he was very delayed. We found out the day he was born that he had a heart murmur and he needed open heart surgery. So he had open heart surgery at 3 months old. He had a I don't know what it's called. He was diagnosed with something called tetralogy of Fallot. So basically what that means is one of the chambers, there's a hole between the two chambers of the heart. And the issue with that is unoxygenated blood could rush into the oxygenated side of his heart, and you could stop breathing. He turns purple, and that's a major problem, obviously. Mm-hmm. So at 3 months old, he had a full repair. And his heart's been good ever since. It started every couple months or every month. It was every couple months, every 6 months, and now it's every year. They told us after next year, remind them, and it's going to be every 2 years now because his heart is working at 100% right now. So he gets staples across his chest. You're thinking, he doesn't get the tummy time, whatever they call it, that every other kid has as a baby. So he's delayed. That's the reason. That's what we thought. And as time went on, there was no improvement or very little improvement. And let's try and figure out what's going on. They do blood work, they do this, they do that. No answer. We get a DNA test here. They check the DNA. They can't find anything. Years go on. He's about 3.5 years old. We go to Boston Children's Hospital. They have an amazing genetic DNA unit that is one of the best in the country. It's I forgot which college is up there. One of those. Which one is it? Harvard? One of those big ass schools. The what the hell are they called? The good one. Harvard, Yale. It's one of the best schools in the world. Mm-hmm. You go to Boston Children's Hospital. They do the genetic testing there, and they overlooked the testing we had down here in Long Island, and they're like, there's something wrong with this gene, and they figured it out that there was a mutation on the ATRX gene. Mm-hmm. So they diagnosed him with this ATRX syndrome. He was about 3.5, 4 years old when he was diagnosed. Very late. There was nothing more we could have done. We did everything right. With the therapies, we did everything right the whole time. So there's nothing better we could have done, not knowing the diagnosis. But we did our best, and now we know what he has. So we linked up on a Facebook page, ATRX page, which is very small. You join these pages and there's like millions of people on, thousands of people. This page got like 500. The world 300. The world one's got 500. But every family member is on it. The mother's on it. The father's on it. The grandparents are on it. Everybody wants to know what's going on. Everybody's got questions, so everybody joins it. Mm-hmm. So my wife actually met this mother on the Facebook page. And she met me through I tagged the video with Liam, ATRX syndrome, and she reached out to me. She's like, my son has it too. So I linked up with her, and we're good friends now. So it's really cool.
Well, my question was, what was that like for your family?
So,
No,
so,
when-
so I told the story, but it's very rough. Declan, he's 7 years old, and he's not really asking these questions now. But when he was a little bit younger, he goes, "Why can't I play with my brother? Why is he not running? Why is he not walking? Everybody else is playing with their sibling, and he's basically an only child, so it takes a toll on him. With us, from his first 2.5 years of his life, he was in the hospital for probably 3 months. Every time he got a cold, he'd be in the hospital. He'd be there for a week. He'd be there for 2 weeks. Dean is at the hospital with him the whole time. I'm home with Declan, and I'm burning my own time at work. And it's like I'm running out of time. And every time I run out of time, I'm building up time. God forbid he's in the hospital a week from now, I have enough time to take off again. And it went like that for the first 2.5 years of his life. So it took a toll on me. It was to the point where I was at the breaking point. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like, I'm burning all my time, and I come back to work. I'm working cases, and a week later he's in the hospital again, and now I got to worry about closing these cases. It took a toll. And talk about mental health. I mean, that was the breaking point in my life. It was like, whoa, this is crazy.
So how did that affect you? Like, what kind of stress did that put there?
The stress was through the roof. So as this is going on, I wake up one morning and I'm in the shower, and water goes in my mouth, and I go to spit it out. I just squirt out the middle, and all of a sudden it drools down my face. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I do it again. Drools down my face. The whole half of my face was numb. I'm like, what the fuck? Did I just have a stroke? Go to the hospital. I'm in a panic. Nobody's home. I'm by myself. I go to the hospital. I go to the desk, and the girl's like, relax. You have Bell's palsy. I'm just telling you right now. I don't know what the fuck Bell's palsy is, So she's like, you have Bell's palsy? Everything's going to be all right. We're going to get you in there. Don't worry. I had Bell's palsy. So nobody knows what the cause of it is, but everybody that has it is stressed the fuck out. So I get Bell's palsy. Half of my face is limp for 2 months. I can't close one of my eyes. You got to tape your eyes shut. You're waking up in the middle of the night. Your eye is dry. You got to put drops in there. That stressed me out, and then you have a sick child at your house that's sick all the time. And it's like, what the hell do I do? So, I'm on the internet, and I'm actually on one of the, I think it might've been one of a parent's heart page, or it was one of the parent pages for something. And I told them, that I somehow came out, I'm a cop, blah, blah, blah. And they go, check this page out. It's called NYPD with Arms Wide Open. So I'm like, oh, what's that? And they're like, it's parents with kids with disabilities, with heart conditions, with everything. Check it out. So I checked that page out, and I made friends. I can't tell you how many friends I made. And let me tell you, that's when you realize you're not alone. You're going through this, and you're like, who do I talk to? What do I talk about? I can't talk to my partner. My partner doesn't know what the fuck I'm going through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm going to work stressed out, worried, am I going to close my case? Is my kid going to end up in the hospital tonight? What are they doing for me here? So I found this group, and it's all cops and their families, and they welcomed me right in, with arms wide open, and I found so many good people on that page, and they'll bend over backwards for you. And that's when you realize you're not alone. And you're like, holy shit, I can't believe how many parents there are out there with kids with special needs. You know what I mean? It's like, holy shit. And they're all reaching out to you. Everybody wants to help. And it's like, wow, it's a sigh of relief right there.
Isn't it though? Like finding out that you're not alone.
Oh yeah. Well, let me tell you, it is. So
like
just real quick before I forget. So this charity event in January, it's going to be for two charities. Okay. One of them is for an organization that fixes, adjusts, modifies Power Wheels, so that a child like Liam, who has no muscle tone and can't sit up, they're going to put a seat in there. There's a harness, and that it's remote controlled. They fix the battery so that the thing can drive over grass if you have to. It drives over anything. And, they modify it. So you can control the thing. So It costs like $2,000 for each one of those things to modify. You know, those things are probably $500 to start.
Right.
But the seats are $1,500 you got to put in there, and then the modifications are probably another $500, and then someone's got to put it together. So that's the one group. The other group is NYPD with Arms Wide Open. All the money are going to those two charities. It's going to be an amazing event. Anyone on TikTok, make sure you check out the Tiny Talk _ event page and get your ticket, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to sell out. It's going to sell out, guaranteed. So you want to get your ticket. We already have a lot of big name people that are going to be coming. Huge people that are coming.
Tiny Talk _ events. You guys, events or event?
Event.
Tiny Talk _ event. Go check it out, everybody, and let's meet up in fucking New York, everybody. Let's help out this charity. Or these charities, excuse me. But I want to get back to you finding out that you're not alone. And the thing is the reason why I say this is that, you know, everybody deals with mental health issues in some form or fashion. Yours happens to be family oriented, right? Like, personal life shit, not job shit. And I guess that we should have.
It takes a toll on you on the job, though. It takes a toll.
It does.
On you
No, right. And that goes back to my whole
bringing the shit into work.
Right. Like, everybody says, leave your home life at the door when you come to work. Leave your work life.
It don't work like that. No matter how you look at it.
That. No.
Then you're taking it out on the guys you work with, and you're being an asshole. And people are like, yo, why are you being a dickhead? It's like, I'm sorry. Yeah, you know, you can't even make up an excuse because you got something going on. Yeah, we all got shit going on at home. You know, people don't give a shit.
And that's the thing. I think that mindset needs to change, right? Like, people need to start giving a shit, because that's the kind of shit that can break us. Yep. Especially when it's your fucking child.
Yeah.
When it's your child that's going through something and you feel lost. You feel like nothing you can do and nothing you're doing is making the situation any better.
Yep.
How does that make you feel as an individual, as a parent? Like, fuck. I can only imagine, man. And
it's rough. It's rough. It really is.
And I bet, and that's why I asked, like, what kind of toll did it take on you and your family? And I can only imagine the kind of toll it took on your wife and, you know, your son, your other son, and like that's a huge undertaking to take care of a special needs child, and you know,
and both of us work full time. You know, it's not easy.
No, I wouldn't imagine.
You're living in a state where the taxes for us are like $12,000 a year for our tax on our house. You know, the taxes on everything is up there. The gas is through the roof. You could barely live in the state that you work in. Both parents have to work. I mean, you have no choice in a state like New York. It's through the roof. You know, and
do any of those taxes go towards helping the families that need the help, like you?
No, it all goes towards school taxes. You know, it doesn't go towards anybody. You're paying $12,000 a year for property taxes. The cheapest house you can get here, probably $400,000, and I'm telling you, you need to wreck the whole house and redo the whole thing.
That's insane. For $400,000, you can get a damn mansion down here in Texas.
My cousin just moved down there. Let me tell you, what I could sell my house for, I'll be living in a mansion.
Right. Exactly.
For half of what I can sell the house for. It's crazy.
It is. And, you know, that's all political and everything, but we're not going to get into all that. But
it's not even about that's not even about politics. It's about life. You're living up here in New York. You can't afford to live in the state that you work for. You can't afford to live in the city that you protect, which is a bigger disgrace.
It's a huge disgrace because they'd much rather pay their fucking sports players the millions of dollars and tax the people that live close to the fucking stadium to keep it upkept. Like, come on. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
For the fucking parking lot, you're going to tax me to keep a parking lot for a fucking sports arena, but you're not going to do anything to actually help my community? What the fuck?
I know.
Like, I just, it's insane, man. But I don't envy where you live. You know, I used to live in California, and fuck, man,
They tax you just to breathe the
It's
air.
gonna be the same thing, right?
No, they taxed you to breathe the air, man. It was ridiculous.
Nuts.
Like, it is completely.
I'll tell you, I might be your neighbor in a few years.
Hey, bring it.
You
Come
move
be
into my
neighbor.
mansion, bro. I'll let you
Yeah.
can move into my pool house.
Oh, hey, yeah, that'd be awesome, man. I'd definitely come to your pool house. That'd be awesome.
But I'm honestly thinking about possibly moving to Texas. I got cousins that moved down there. They're in the Dallas area, and I gotta get down there and check it out before I say I'm thinking about moving there. But it's a big move when your whole family's living up here.
Mm-hmm. Bro, if you do, let me know. I there's a couple of departments that I could probably get you on.
I'm not gonna come down there and be a cop. If I come down there, I want to be an investigator for the district attorney's office or the attorney general's office or something. I'm not gonna be on patrol again. That's never gonna happen.
I don't. I mean, if you had to be on patrol,
I'm not going to patrol. I haven't done patrol in 15 years, 14 years. I'm not doing it again. 43 years old. I'm not going in a patrol car, pulling people over and writing tickets. Nope.
You're not going to do that again?
Nope.
Well,
I'm not writing tickets.
I mean, you can.
I can, but I won't.
Okay. Well, if you do come down here,
I'll hear you out.
Area, the Houston area is not too bad, brother. Boost lives close to the Houston area. So, and you can link up with him. We'd all link up together. Hey, speaking of which, if we do something for the nonprofit for What Makes Us Fire, I can link up with Boost and maybe we can do something where we're
that's the way to do it right there.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, going further, there was something else you wanted to talk about. So you have the event coming up in January, and there was one other thing you wanted to talk about.
We just started an apparel company. All first responders, 3 law enforcement officers, 1 fireman. We started a company up. It's called Paz Vibes Apparel. Check it out. Check out our TikTok, Paz, POZVIBEZ _apparel on TikTok. Check us out. Click on the link in the bio and sign up for notifications. We're going to be up and running in the next month.
Hell yeah, man. Hey, fucking link me up with that. Show me up.
Definitely going to.
We'll link me up. Yeah, for sure.
We already got some cool designs. It's going to be awesome, brother.
I can't wait. Shit, man. Maybe if we can, put What Makes Us Fire logo somewhere.
Maybe. I think we're gonna take over the Blue Line PD merch, so we might be able to help you out with that too.
Dude, that'd be amazing because then we can help each other out.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Because the amount of money you pay on these sites to get your merch on,
dude, it's ridiculous.
A lot cheaper.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The only reason why I can't do it cheaper is because I can't afford anywhere to hold merchandise. Like I'm not like JT Laybourne that has his own, fucking storage facility for all his merch.
Yeah.
So, I want to get to that point, but right now we're using third-party shipment companies. But yeah, it is what it is. Well, I'm going to start winding it down, brother. And What Makes Us Fire family, you guys check out Tiny Talk _events and check out his apparel line. And then just you can find all of this if you just go follow him. Go follow
your
Brian.
boy Diddy.
Detective _Diddy. Go check him out on TikTok. I'm pretty sure that's like the only social media platform you have right now. That's
I got Instagram too.
Is it the same, Detective _Diddy?
No, but you could click on my link and I think it's BRIDRIS. That's my Instagram.
All right, so we do. Go check it out, everybody. Dude, when I close out the show, I usually ask 3 questions. And those 3 questions can facilitate another 15, 20-minute conversation. Or they can be a one-word answer, man. I don't care.
Okay.
There's no right or wrong answer.
Let's go.
But
My first question to you is, say Detective Diddy had his own podcast and Detective Diddy was his guest on the podcast. What's the one question you would have asked yourself and or piece of information you would have liked to have shared that maybe we didn't touch on too much?
I would have asked about his special needs son that I talked to you about before the episode started.
Yeah, but we did talk about your special needs son. Though.
because the non-host brought it up.
Well,
so what?
Even still, here's the thing.
Why do you gotta ask hard questions?
So here's the thing, man. I wanted you, and I try to ask leading questions, right?
Which
so
I don't ask. Those are the questions I don't ask interviewing children, because that'll lead you into a wrong direction.
Right. But I asked you any type of mental health stuff that you've ever been through, right? And you said no.
You know what? I thought about it, but and I didn't bring it up, and then I was like, we'll get to it, and we got to it. So I'm just messing with you, brother.
All right. Well,
what would I ask myself?
Yeah, what would you ask yourself?
I would ask myself, why are you so handsome? That's what I would ask.
Okay, and what would your answer be?
My answer would be like, I was born that way.
Well, there you go.
I don't know, dude. I mean, this is the hardest question you asked me. What would I ask myself?
Oh, just
after talking for 3 hours, I'm fried right now.
Oh, just wait for the last question. You think that question was hard? All right, my second question for you, brother, is simple. Do you have any questions for me? It's as simple as that, man. I'm an open book. The only type of questions that I will not technically answer is if you ask me what my opinion is of what somebody else thinks, because I can't speak for that person. So that's the only type of question I won't.
I appreciate that, because that's what I said when you asked me about mental health questions. I can't speak for that person.
Right. So,
man, I wish you gave me these questions beforehand.
No, that's the whole point, bro.
But I'm not good like that. I'm not good like that.
You can ask me anything. Don't ask me like
fire. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't ask me like, first date questions like what's your favorite color, because that'd be weird. I mean, you can if you want.
Do you like long walks on the beach?
Well, I mean, if we're holding hands, maybe.
The beach is wet and sandy.
Yeah, that can be uncomfortable.
Hey, why do you gotta do this to me, man? I don't like these questions.
It's a simple question, bro.
Will you hang out with me when I come down to visit you?
Fuck yeah, I'll hang out with you.
All right, so that's my question. Let's go. Let's do this.
God,
no, I gotta come down to the Houston area ASAP, and we're gonna do a live podcast then.
Dude, that would be amazing. We could do a live podcast on.
We could do a
YouTube.
Dual podcast almost.
Oh hell yeah, dude! Boost is in the area, so we can actually we can do a dual podcast. That would be amazing.
I could bring my Roadcaster Pro if you need.
Hell yeah!
Do you have a setup? Because I could bring mine. This thing's badass, bro.
Dude, I need to get one. You need
to get a Roadcaster Pro, bro. It's really the best.
Roadcaster Pro. You gotta send me the information for that.
Oh yeah.
Because right now I have an
pod mics, school. Bro. They're amazing.
Are they
pod mics? Yeah, $100 each. They're the best, and they're tweaked for the Roadcaster Pro.
I have to get that Roadcaster Pro. Send me that information.
You could record it on here. You could do everything. And you know what? I use a different site for my my podcast. I use a thing called StreamYard. Mm-hmm. I got to test it out and see if it's good, because the issue I was having was it wasn't like a quick flow. Like you asked a question, we would be cutting each other off, which I like about this. So I'm going to talk to you about this when we're done. But all right, what's the third question?
Third question. Very, very complicated. And I'm going to ask you the question that you were going to ask me. You're on the What Makes Us Fire podcast. A lot of people will listen to this and a lot of people think, oh, he's asking people like what makes them firefighters. And no, that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, what do you think it is that's in every one of us that's in the civil service, right? Every one of us that makes the conscious choice to sacrifice of ourselves for our communities.
Yeah.
Be it time, money, physical effort, mental health, all that other stuff. What do you think it is that's within all of us that allows us to do the job?
You know what? Money, obviously, for a lot of people, it's money. But for the most part, it's about heart. It's about doing the right thing for the community. It's about doing the right thing by your family and your friends. It's about protecting the community. It really is. It's not about money. Most people, You don't become a firefighter or a cop for the money, because that's not where the money's at.
Yeah, you don't become a military. You don't become a soldier for the
No.
money either. That's for damn sure. So what
You
is
do
it?
it to do the right thing by the community. That's the truth of the matter. I did it because it's the family business. Third generation, 190 plus years of service, the same police department. That's something right there.
So your thing was lineage, but you still had a choice, right? You still had a
love what I
choice.
do. I love what I do. I had a choice. I didn't have to work in the sex crimes unit that investigates child cases. I didn't have to do it. That's what I wanted to do. I love every second of it. You get to speak for children that can't speak for themselves, which is absolutely amazing.
I guess my question is, what inside of you allows
Makes me
you to
fire?
make that choice? Allows you to make that choice. That gives you the fire to do that.
To be honest with you, I love going into work every day and doing what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I really do. And like we talked about before, there's not one person I've met in my life that says, I could do what you do. They say, I would kill that person. I would never be able, and that's cops. That's anybody. Nobody wants to do that. I love going into work every day. I love being busy. I love investigating those cases. It's the best thing you could do. It really is.
So for you, it was just a love of what it is.
Yeah. I've been doing it for 11 years. There's nobody that does it for that long. Rarely. I love it. It's great.
I guess you're an anomaly then. In that
I'm a little Buffy. I love being a cop.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything about being a cop. I've wanted to be a cop since I was a kid. And, my dreams came true.
Well, yeah. I don't think it was going to be too hard for you, seeing as that you had that lineage. I mean, it's kind of built into you.
Yeah.
And
it's the family business, baby. It's the real life Blue Bloods.
Do you think
I'm Donnie Wahlberg? Whatever his name is on that show.
Wahlberg.
That's me. That's my part on the Blue Blood show.
Do you think that? So you know how
I just don't have a hot sister that's the DA. I have a brother that's a bartender. It's not a cop.
Do you think that? Because there's that theory about how human beings, when they evolve to adapt to their surroundings, and they evolve with the area that they grew up in, right? There's that theory that there's certain traits that a human being will have when you grow up in a certain area or you grew up with certain things, that it's almost kind of ingrained in you, right?
You know what, though? It's the total opposite for me. I grew up in Long Island, no crime, no issues, and I get dropped off into one of the actually, I didn't get dropped off into one of the worst neighborhoods. I'm in one of the worst neighborhoods now, but it's a culture shock. I mean, but I swear to you, dude, it was meant to be, bro. I've never been. Everybody's been afraid. There's not one cop. If you're a cop and you said you've never been afraid, that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
But people think like, oh, this guy grew up in Long Island. He don't belong here. I'm good at what I do. I love what I do. So
you don't think that maybe it was kind of built into you for just being the child of that lineage?
Probably. Just hearing these stories from your family members for the first 21 years of your life before you go to the police department, you're hearing story after story after story. You want to do that.
That's interesting, man. I just, like, I'm first generation civil service member. Well,
yeah.
Let me rephrase. I'm first generation first responder. All my family were military. So, starting with my dad and his brothers, and, my mother was in the Navy and stuff. So they did all military, but I'm first generation, like, public service, first responder, being a firefighter. And it's weird, when I jumped into it, it almost felt like it's literally what I felt like I was meant to do.
Yeah.
And then I fell into
that's the way I feel. I really do.
It's weird. It's unexplainable. You can't really explain it all too much.
it's hard to put into words. Like, I went into
You didn't do
class.
it for a job.
No, I didn't do it for a job.
No, but
I did it.
I'm sure there's guys in your department that are just miserable pricks.
Oh,
They're
absolutely.
just doing it because they just did it for a job. Doesn't matter what they do. They got to bitch about everything.
Oh, absolutely.
They weren't born for that job. They didn't want to do that job. They never wanted to do the job. They just wanted the paycheck.
Well, I never grew up wanting to be a firefighter, bro. Like, I started off as a model, actor, and ballroom dancer. I used to teach ballroom dancing.
Oh, man, this guy's dancing with the stars over there.
No, seriously. I used to teach ballroom dancing. I used to model, and I did some acting. I was in a few commercials. Like, being a firefighter was never on the fucking radar, and going into the military was never in the fucking radar for me because I saw what it did to my family.
Both your parents are,
Yeah, but I saw what it did to my family, right?
Yeah.
The relationship that what it did to my parents and the relationship and the my uncles and aunts and all the divorces and the chaos that it caused and stuff. And so going to the military was never a thing. And I never thought going into any type of public service would ever be a thing. But then when I got into it, it's like it found me.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it found me. And then once I jumped into it, it was like, yeah, not doing anything else in my life. This is it. This is what I'm doing.
And you found your calling, baby.
And then I started going through my mental health stuff and then found out that I can make an even bigger difference for my brothers and sisters in that. And it's like, wow. Had I not fallen into this and not had gone through what I went through,
where would you be right now?
Exactly.
You become a firefighter. Where do you think you would have been?
Man, to tell you the truth,
if they psyched you off of the fire department, where would you be right now? I'm glad I asked you the hard question.
No, I would be working any job I could to make sure I didn't, die because of no money and no food. I'd be working any job that I could.
Yeah.
I don't, other than the fire department and this podcast and the nonprofit, if I didn't have anything else, I would.
You would have found something though.
I would have found something. Maybe I would have tried.
But you don't have the answer to the question. I'm glad you didn't have an answer to one of the questions.
I know that I would be working. I just don't know what I would be working at.
Yeah.
I'd find any job that provided a sustainable financial living.
Yeah, man.
Living in the Houston area, I'd probably be working at an oil field somewhere.
Yeah, probably.
Or an industrial complex.
What are the percentage of people that work in oil fields over there? It's probably a good percentage.
Industrial field out here that work in a very healthy
20%, 30%? Probably.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, it's a very healthy percentage.
You're trucking oil out and filtering the oil and everything that they do with oil.
We have the ship channel, the Houston ship channel, which is the busiest ship channel for oil and gas. So it's just no. I'd probably be working somewhere in that field, but no, I can't stop doing what I'm doing now, and I hope to get to the point where I can just work the nonprofit and I can retire early from the fire department.
How many years do you need to retire?
So I've been working with the current fire department for 13 years. So I need 7 to get to 20, and of course, 13 to get to 25. So another 13 years. 12 to get to 25. So
you'll retire at 20 or?
Well, I would love to retire earlier than that.
What is the number that you have to make? 25 or 20?
25.
Oh, okay.
For it to be a
full pension. Well, not a full
pension. For it to be a livable pension.
Yeah.
For it to be a comfortable, livable pension, I have to hit 25 at least.
Okay.
So, but if I can retire earlier than that and make the nonprofit a sustainable, long-lasting, not going to go under nonprofit, that's what I'll do.
Well, hopefully you can make those 13 years, get your full pension, and then continue with this.
I can do that too, but I'd much rather spend more time trying to help my brothers and sisters instead of taking away time from doing that.
I hear you.
So it is what it is.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, Brian, brother, I want to say thank you again, man. Thank you,
brother. I appreciate it.
Fire. I'm gonna go ahead. I got somewhere to be. I'm running a little bit late right now. Shit, we did talk for almost 3 hours. Holy fuck!
It might have been longer than 3 hours. Kidding me?
Well, once I edit everything down and
no, it was close to 4 hours, bro.
Holy shit.
6:30 we started.
Holy shit.
You're going to really have to edit this bad boy down. At least you can get rid of some of the boring parts and make this really interesting.
No, I just edit down, I shortened down dead space, and that's about it.
Yeah, like 3 hours of it, you got to shorten down my boringness,
Nah, you're not boring, bro. Come on. Anyway, bro, whenever you get your podcast set up with your boys, hit me up. I'd love to be a guest. Maybe we can do a dual podcast. But other than that, man, thank you so much. Y'all, What Makes Us Fire family, go check out Detective_Diddy on TikTok. That's where a lot of his content is made. That's where you're going to find all the stuff that's happening. Remember, TinyTalk_event. And go check that out as well. Check out his apparel line that he's coming up with. And let's go show him some love. Y'all, have fun, stay safe, show some love and peace out in the world. You never know who's going to need it. You never know if you're going to be the one to make the difference. And being that difference, it just feels really fucking good. Be the change you want to see in the world. Don't let the world dictate how you're going to see that change happen. Just be better. Have fun. Much love. Peace. You can say bye too if you would like, Detective Diddy.
Later, everybody.
Right,
hear the music?
Oh, God.
Come on.
When the sun goes down on my side of town, that lonesome feeling comes to my door. The whole world turns blue.
Yeah!
That's great. That's what's great about this thing, man. You could have
Oh, wow.
I could hook my phone up. We could take a phone call. And
All right, everybody. That was Brian, better known as Detective Diddy on TikTok. If you guys don't follow him on any of those social media platforms, go check him out. Dude is an amazing human being. He loves just showing positivity, love, and he loves helping people when he can, where he can, any way he can. And he does that by just being a presence in people's lives, by making funny videos, by making people laugh. You know, we talked about a little bit about humanizing the badge, and I think he's doing a huge job in doing that. Of course, I don't believe in that saying, because I truly believe we were all humans prior to ever putting on any type of badge or uniform. However, if you do fall in line with that belief, he's doing one hell of a job doing it. So I want to say thank you to him again for being open, honest, and for allowing me to really bombard him with uncomfortable questions that, you know, I don't think he was truly prepared for. And he even admitted that he was hesitant to come onto the podcast because he kind of knew what it was going to be about, but yet he did it anyway. And I want to thank him for that. It says a lot about who he is and a lot about how he truly does want to help people. If you find yourself in a current situation where you need somebody to talk to right now, and you just need somebody, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 100% free, anonymous, and confidential. Make the phone call. The number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, the number is 1-800-273-8255. If making that phone call just isn't there for you yet, that's okay. Please visit suicidepreventionlifeline.org. There you will find a multitude of resources for you to learn from, look up, and basically just get that information for yourself to start your conversation, to start getting the help you want for yourself. Also, we would like to invite you to follow us on all our social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, with the tag @WhatMakesUsFire. If you're not watching us on YouTube, please go subscribe on YouTube, What Makes Us Fire space podcast. There you can leave comments. You can check out the pretty faces behind the weird voices, or the weird faces behind the pretty voices. Either one, it all works. Please subscribe. That will help us in the future. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can email me at whatmakesusfire@yahoo.com. Please give me a little bit of time to get to your emails. I get a lot of emails. However, I do get back to you. If you would like to learn a little bit more about the nonprofit, please visit WhatMakesUsFire.com. There you can learn about what the nonprofit's about. You can check out the podcast. You can check out our merch store, which, by the way, we do have a new merch store being in the works. We are partnering with another company to do our merch. It's in the works, but it'll be here sooner rather than later. And in saying all that, if you would also like to make a donation, there you can do it at the WhatMakesUsFire.com website as well. And like I said at the beginning of the show, if you would like to become a sponsor, please reach out to me at WhatMakesUsFire@yahoo.com. Y'all, the uncomfortable conversation doesn't have to be so fucking uncomfortable. And it shouldn't have to be. Take the time, reach out, start your conversation. It might be a little bit uncomfortable. And I have to be honest with you, it wasn't easy for me starting either. But I know that when I did start my conversation, it became easy. And the more I talked about it, the more I shared my story, I noticed that not only was I becoming better for myself, but my story was helping others. And your story can do the same. That's all I'm asking. Start your conversation. Remember, show some love and peace out in the world. You never know who's going to need it. You never know if you're going to be the one to make the difference. And being that difference really does feel amazing. Be the change you want to see in the world. Don't let the world dictate how you want to see that change. Let's just be better. Much love to y'all. Peace.